Hi, everybody in the chat room.
Hangout on Air is live.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Just catching up on the chat room here real quick.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to have to stop this. There we go. Okay.
Oh, bloody hell. This thing's gone mad. Ah, stop it.
Nick is having technical difficulties. Stand by.
It's just my bloody iPad has gone bananas. What's wrong with it?
We are live, Dana.
Ron.
Dana, we are on the air.
Okay, I see that. Thank you.
Good. Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make sure you saw that.
Thank you. I see it.
Because
I
normally
had to get some refreshment.
When we're not on the air, Dana says just horrible things about the people in the APG community.
Curio?
Yeah, it's so full of crap.
Is that the allegation?
I mean, I can't even really say what he says. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, okay. I don't say much. I was watching the back of my eyelids, actually. Yeah, there you go.
Don't know much. All right. Dun-dun-dun. Oh, no. Easy. Oh, God.
God, what is that
Is
stuff?
that the bourbon barrel aged IPA? No.
It's not an IPA, but it's brewed. And that's for you, Nick. See?
That's French. What's that got to do with me? What's that got to do with me?
You fly a French airplane.
That comes from England, from my buddy that lives over in England. See, it's
No, that thing comes from France. France.
Look at that. Isn't that pretty cool? That's
France.
awesome. Stella Artois.
Stella Artois.
Artois.
It could even be Spanish for all I know, but it's certainly not English. It might have been brewed in England, but there you go. Google, where does Stella Artois come from?
It's okay. It's my neighbor who's
Siri,
English.
where does Stella Artois come?
It's my neighbor who's English that his brother brings the Stella Artois, the original real glasses from England that you can't get here in the States. You see how it's fizzing from the bottom? You can't get that here in the States. That comes from England, the glass at least.
That is fascinating.
Well, we're being extra fancy here with our beer in a can.
And you can't get this in England, and you can't get it in France.
Or in Atlanta, for that matter.
Also, and if you look
Atlanta.
really closely, you can see the fizzing. It's fizzing from the bottom as well.
It is. You have to look through the can.
Yeah.
But it is.
You can actually I can feel it, though. I can feel it's fizzing through the bottom.
But look at how big my head's getting. It's fizzing.
We can't make any comment about that. I'm sorry.
No, I'm talking about the
comments.
glass. No, because it's fizzing from the bottom. It's getting like it's going to overflow the top.
Not helping.
Gonads are useful for their purpose, but they are no substitute for brains.
I really need to take a sip before this thing overflows.
Easy.
Oh, yeah. Just going to do the karaoke version of the job.
Liz says Stella is Belgian, so
yeah, I didn't think it was French.
I'm inclined to believe Liz.
What's the Italian beer?
Something I don't drink.
Okay, yeah, probably.
Liz says Dana's video is getting better. I like that. Thank you, Liz.
That means that's getting fuzzier. There we go.
Bada bing, bada boom.
All right. So, Dana, say something. I just need to check your levels.
Hi, how are you today? Nice to see you. Oh, my. You're going to kill me. Wow. Did you guys notice I'm drinking beer today?
I did.
Yeah. Wow.
That's unusual.
Cool. That is.
That's because it's bourbon barrel beer.
Really?
Mind you, I paid $15.99 or $14.99 for this one bottle. That's crazy.
Yep, but Allagash is great.
Oh, it's unbelievable good stuff.
Should we tell him his internet is messing up again?
It's not as bad as it has.
Don't you dare.
No, I mean you're kind of like Skyping I hate to use that term because we're not using Skype.
We're gonna take care of that right now. How's that better?
Well, those last few words were.
Yeah, well, I just turned down the definition a little bit, so it should be a little bit better now.
Oh yeah, it's a lot better. You're not. It's not
Excellent.
hesitating at all. Sweet.
Well, we like that. We need to make the people happy.
What happened
Yes.
to Nick?
We should just start the show now.
He quit.
He quit.
I think
Okay,
a Russian sub just got the transatlantic.
I bought a fancy mouse too.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, that's a nice one. Magic Mouse.
Magic mouse, yeah. Magic mouse. Where did Nick go?
Yeah, the Russian sub just cut the transatlantic internet cable, is what he said. So, yeah.
That's only because we're on APG.
Fuzzier and Fizzier. Hello, Michael Kuipers. I'm finally now looking at the chat room.
And-
How are the levels, by the way?
Peroni is the Italian.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who said
I-
that?
Yes.
Neville.
Neville.
Liz.
Thank you, Nev and Liz. James Balch to the stars.
And
Oh, that's where he
did
went?
Nick go?
Uh,
I hope not. We need him for the show tonight. He can't. After
Okay.
he groaned about us being
Yep.
slow,
Uh-huh.
this is what we get.
Well, we're here at the SunTrust Park in Cobb County on the north side of Atlanta for the Braves versus Diamondbacks.
There we go. Thank you, Nev. At least somebody's paying attention.
You can always count on Nev.
Yep.
Nev Tech.
Nev, the stalwart.
It helps when I turn the phone off of silent. That's why I was getting.
Yeah. We just won't tell him because he's going to get mad.
Uh-huh. Apparently we're in high
Really?
def though, so that's good.
Yeah.
No, Pip. Nick was here, and then he just, I don't know, disappeared.
He just, I think he just got so fed up with the whole thing because we haven't started.
Yeah.
Even though
only been
he's
badgering us.
the one that's been begging us not to start too early.
Yeah,
So he
this
could-
morning, super early, he's like, don't start until 5
Yeah.
p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
and then
Okay,
guess
fine.
what?
Around 2 o'clock, hey, we can start earlier. Okay, we'll work on it. There's a lot of grumbling.
It's sad, so sad, with the sad situation, and it's getting more and more absurd.
More and more absurd.
Or absurd.
But he says absurd, doesn't he?
Does he?
Yeah. That's it.
It's sad, so sad, with the sad situation, and it's getting more and more absurd.
No, he kind of does.
Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the singing thing.
Perhaps.
When I say absurd, absurd.
Absurd. Yeah. Balls or bowels? It's a good question, Pip. It's a good question.
Either bump up Steph's level or have her move. Okay.
I can move.
I can move
close.
her. I can bump up her levels. Bump up her level. Okay, let me try to bump up. Oh, sorry.
What happened to the Google Hangouts?
Oh, I accidentally hit this.
Oh, there you go.
This is the hotkey for the web clipper. I must have accidentally hit that.
I bet.
Okay, wait. What was I doing? Oh, I was bumping up Steph's level. Okay, say
Yep.
something, Miss Steph.
Is this any better if I sit at this distance from the microphone?
I think it sounds good to me in my ears.
Yeah, I can hear myself.
What do you think?
Doesn't mean anything.
Now, 25, 30
Chat room.
seconds from now, we'll hear whether or not.
I think
Now their
you guys
ears are
sound-
bleeding
sound
because
great. No, you both sound good to me.
excellent.
Good. Check. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to do. I got to get the.
Fantastic.
Okay, so when I do Plain Tales, I just have to remember. So I'm gonna play it in Evernote, and I'm gonna do the this thing, the bus, like moving this up in the
Okay.
echo button.
Okay.
You just have to remind me that when it's finished, I got to go back down.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Mrs. Nett would like to see your engagement ring stuff. Alrighty. It's a good thing I remembered to wear it. No, I'm just kidding. Hold
Did
on.
you see that, Dana? He tried to message you on Twitter, but your account apparently doesn't accept DMs. You have to. Are you following Pilot Pip on Twitter, Dana?
I am not. I'm responding to him right now.
That's all you have to do. Go when you go onto Twitter, you follow Pip,
I will.
and then he'll be able to direct message you. That's the way it works.
I was actually responding to him as you were asking me, and you see that it's up
we
there.
have audio. We can actually talk to people.
We
don't
can
have to actually type. We can talk to them.
Well, I know. I try to
He's
keep
making
it.
fun of me typing.
No, I'm not.
Oh.
I'm making fun of Dana,
Oh, okay.
but I can make fun of you too.
Well, yeah.
I
But I mean,
am
you guys were having a different
technically-
conversation,
Yeah.
so I figured I'd just,
Okay.
side
Yeah.
conversation.
Can I
I
be
like it.
quite honest? I mean, well,
No.
like I'm not honest, but I mean, realistically, for the last 5 years or so, I haven't had any desire or need to keep up with technology, so I haven't. And so I'm really trying to play the catch-up game now that I'm involved with APG.
The catch-up game. Where's
The catch-up game, and a little mustard with a little
Heinz.
relish to go with it.
We played the catch-up game at the tailgating
There you go.
last
I
Sunday.
avoided ketchup all last weekend except for French fries.
Why, is there something wrong with ketchup?
You do
What's
not
wrong with
put it on
mayonnaise
Chicago
and French
hot
fries?
Oh, that's true.
Actually, I like poutine. That's
And
the best way to
I
have French
follow you
fries.
on Twitter. I'll have you know.
Yes, I do too.
I care.
I follow you, Pip. You never post. Ooh, burn. Lane is burning, Pip.
Well, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead right into Twitter right now, and I
Do
will
it.
follow Pip.
Unless it's pics of food in hell.
Let's see. Twitter.
Where is Nick?
I see the Twitter.
So what's going to happen here is we're going to end up starting at 5:00
Mhm.
because of Nick's issues.
Wow.
That's okay. That's what I was planning anyway.
Oops. I need to put back on silent. No, Jeff, I do not know what they call Stella in Europe.
I didn't ask you.
No.
I know. I know you're talking about Jeff Fellman. Gotcha.
Why?
Bud.
Wow. It's going to be a rough crowd tonight.
It's so
How do you
funny.
follow?
Every country has their Budweiser
Yes.
here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like we don't drink that.
No.
Bud. But I like the glass. I like how it froths in the middle here.
Still frothy?
It's still froth in the middle. Has that little
That's
ring
nice.
in there that causes the beer.
Bubble.
Makes it taste better.
Well, now we're not even getting texts back from Nick, so
I know. I think he must have lost.
it's not
his
good.
internet completely.
It's not good.
He doesn't have cellular signal either. Maybe,
He's on an island and it's been completely isolated again. Yep.
maybe there's some kind of a bomb was dropped over there.
Let's see here.
We can sing in the meantime. I love coffee. I love tea. I love the Java and it loves me.
Coffee and tea and the Java and me.
The Jobber.
Java.
It's Java.
Jabber.
That's
Jabber.
how
The
Dana would say.
Boston term.
Dana would say, right?
It's exactly how I'd say it.
Whoops, Mr.
So, Pip, I'm now following you.
Cool. Now he can DM you. Yes, Mike. How are you and Denise? Haven't seen Denise in a long time. Well, I haven't seen you either. Either.
Neither, neither.
Neither.
Nor.
Potato.
Yes.
Potable.
No.
Potable.
Potable. You mean
Potable. Potable.
potable? Miss me some Nick. Nick,
where are you, Nick?
It's the button that says ON.
I think he really was perturbed about Stella Artois.
Oh, you know, that could be it. That may have been just the final straw.
He just responded, looks like the internet is down on the phone to my provider. Uh-oh. Hey, Jeff, how's my sound? Is it decent?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, let's make sure the mic's at the right distance.
Yeah, and sounds like it's obviously it's the actual ATR mic, and it sounds good. Sounds
Excellent,
wonderful.
thank you.
Wunderbar.
Wonderful. You should see my nice setup. I've actually spent some dinero getting this all set up and nice.
Oh, nice.
So it actually will work, and of course now I'm
Snap a picture
pixelating.
of it. No, actually, well, it's not bad. I'm seeing. I mean, your sound. I mean, the audio is good, and the video to me doesn't look that bad either.
I turned it down, so we'll have to just deal with it. It's supposedly AT&T fixed it, but it's just I'm up to a 5 gig upload and 25 gig download. I mean, I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's the up that's the important one for us.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was at 1, now I'm at 5.
I've been very pleasantly surprised with my little local internet provider.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you say 190?
190 up I'm sorry, 190 down and 10 up.
Wow. So that is amazing.
I can't wait for Google Fiber. It's coming.
Nice.
Nick is on the phone.
Oh no. Yeah, he said this might take a while. You might as well just start.
This will be our fault since we did not start earlier when his internet was working.
That is our fault.
He had a premonition, I'm sure. Internet's going to go out at 5. So start the show early.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember which one of these Java Jives was the one that I made.
We've only got like 400 versions of the Java Jive on your computer.
Karaoke.
I like the one that we played last week.
Yeah, I know that we were talking about.
That Miami Hick made.
Huh?
Oh, no, that's not the Java Jive. That's the APG song.
No, that's not it.
Is it the record scratch?
No, that's the one where
that's right. It was that one.
Oh. I'll show you what this one is.
Oh, it's like.
Oh, I better not do this.
Yeah, don't
They're
play
gonna
that. Don't play that.
Probably too late.
I was gonna say.
Because it's actually recording right now. I'm already.
Oh.
They probably already sent me the
probably
notification that I'm in trouble again.
Sorry.
Did you get? Is that the one you broke? Is that the one you replaced? The one that was broke, Jeff? The pad, the Apple pad
Topic? That's a replacement. Yeah.
Oh, the one I'm using.
Magic
the,
trackpad.
Magic trackpad. This is the one that I bought a new one, and they're really cheap. They're like only $130.
Yeah. Everything at Apple's cheap.
Yep.
Just like at Harley Davidson. I'm getting a battery changed. $250.
I went to buy some AirPods the other day at the office.
Oh yeah. Did they tell you 6 weeks?
Yeah, 6 weeks.
6 weeks. That's how long I had to wait for mine, and that's
okay.
why I finally just ordered them because I was like, they're never going to be in the store.
Yeah.
So, I've really been impressed with them though.
But Dana, you got them at the AT&T store, right? No, who was that got them at the AT&T store? Somebody was fine.
Not me.
Oh, it was Nate, a guy that I was fine with. He said he was on a layover somewhere and he just kind of went into an AT&T store and he was talking about the AirPods. And well, you got some, really? Okay, bottom right.
Hey Nick, did you see Lane's comment? Jeff, are you aware that past episodes are blocked due to copyright violations?
Certain ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that's why I'm trying not to play that Java Jive. I know it's, but those are for YouTube. If you want to hear the episodes not blocked, then just listen to the audio.
Yeah.
They
you don't actually have to look at our faces for this.
You can imagine.
Yeah.
Hello, Tillman.
Haven't
I guess.
seen Tillman in
Let's
them.
see, Tillman.
You know, I don't have
sure
a.
will. I hope so. Still the plan,
Hi,
as far as I
Tillman.
know.
I don't. I
Berlin.
do not have a
Berlin.
voice for radio, and I don't have a face for TV. So
Podcasts are perfect then, because they're
yeah, and
it's tech-
neither one of those
What?
actually.
Episode 200 is blocked?
What?
Well, you can listen to the
It
audio,
is?
though.
How is episode 2?
I bet it's blocked for him.
Oh,
see if
insert.
It's, see if it's blocked on ours.
Yeah, let me look.
I know you like the video, Liz. You're such a visual person. I'm gonna check my email. I bet they've already sent me a email.
They're that fast?
Yeah,
Really? How do they even? Oh, never mind.
it's their
They have software that identifies it.
software. That what do they call those things? Algorithms.
Yeah.
That's why I hate beer. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Yeah. The carbon dioxide tends to build up.
Yep. Good thing I have the mouse on fast scroll. Went straight to it.
You need a what do they call it? A cough button.
Yeah, I need something.
Is it showing up?
I was just going to look on YouTube, but I get.
Should be able to find it there.
Neville had a slight medical. My earmuffs really went too far. Had to do some digging out.
Okay, let's
Why doesn't it just come up with episode 200?
Why don't we do this?
Hey Neville, I've had that with my not the earbuds, but the ear protection. You know, those little soft foamy things.
The window.
I sit there with a pen to dig them out.
Here, I'll go this way. Load more. Load more. What were you digging out with a pen? Sorry, I only heard part of that. Not sure I want to know. Hold on, I'm almost there.
Oh, Nick's back. Look at that. Hi, Nick.
Hi, Dana.
Hello.
I
Good
love
to
the
see
way
you.
it waits until we're about to start the show before it decides to quit on me.
It's perfect timing.
It shows
I
up on the
assumed you-
website. Yeah.
So you guys would be cracking on by now.
We're waiting on you.
I can't find it on actual YouTube though.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So they can't hear it because I have the
I see.
echo button.
So you just need to go to the website.
Go to see if you can get it on the
Yeah.
website. Maybe you can. Maybe okay. I'm going to click the YouTube thing and see what it says. Yeah, I get it on YouTube.
Yeah. For some reason, I can't search it though.
Yeah, interesting. Try APG 200, the bicentennial edition. See if
Oh, maybe that's
maybe I don't know.
After I closed all my windows.
Oh, never mind.
Hold on, it's fine.
Who's that guy over here on the right
You
column?
know, I don't know who is that guy.
He shows up in the early shows a lot.
Yeah, from like 170-ish.
Yeah, through whatever.
Should we text
So,
some of these?
Yeah.
Doing?
So, Nick, how you doing, man?
I'm back, sir. Ready to go. Raring to go.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. So it was just a hiccup, huh?
The internet just completely quit, so I had to reset routers, reset everything again. And it's not
Lovely.
very fast now, so fingers crossed it'll last. If not, I'll go to bed.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Checking the audio one more time.
Hey, Nick, I won't be far behind you.
Apparently, Dana can't hear the music playing.
I can hear you just fine.
Can you hear the music?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Oh, okay. I just thought maybe you couldn't hear it. Okay, I'm going to stop this and then restart it.
You find me. At least you are. I slept last night.
What?
Huh?
Except for the 5-minute snooze I had waiting, I guess.
So is Julie watching pornographic videos or something right now on the internet?
Well, we come through on the same cable provider, but I'm hoping that she's laid off that now. She'll be going to bed soon. But I'm only getting
Julie?
that.
Julie is
I
too.
was saying Julie. Okay, that's
Your significant other's names are too.
Okay, I assumed you were just slurring your words.
No, we barely had anything to drink yet, and we're not tired, so there should be no slurring.
Oh, look at that's. You're very funny, Brian. Has anybody placed bets on how many starts we're going to have today?
Over under.
I might
All
say
right.
3.
We're glad that we can provide you all with side betting.
Well, there
opportunities.
is entertainment value to the show, you know.
Of course.
Yeah, there is that.
Okay, 3 is what Tillman's going for. Huh?
All right.
Oh, thank you, Neff.
That was very considerate of you, Nev.
the RJ tapes, and we're not talking about regionals.
No.
Well, in a way,
VHS.
regions.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. We're recording over here, and of course, YouTube's been recording everything. So,
Oh, no.
You need like a crashing, like stuff flailing around sound clip.
There's a mute button. Use it.
there we go. What is he doing?
Slightly afraid that he's
I'm
going
not
to
sure.
throw
I
up
think he's about to spray beer all over his computers.
his brand new MacBook.
I actually did. It foamed up a little quicker than I thought it was, and it was about to overflow.
Okay.
And then I put as much in my mouth as I could, and I still couldn't get it all in my mouth, and ended a little bit on my MacBook Pro, a brand new one. Good thing I bought the Apple Care.
Good thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure they cover that.
Yes, I'm sure they do.
Spewed beer.
Yeah.
Part of the coverage.
If you're going to
beer.
spew into this.
There you go.
I'm sure there was that much you said in there somewhere.
I could probably do this.
That's what she
I
said.
almost, hey Jeff Falmouth, I almost did actually. I don't drink beer very often.
Okay.
I'm ready whenever you are.
Hey Tillman, Tillman asked me, Allagash. I can never say it right. Was it
Curio.
Curie or
Curio.
Curio. Yes,
Cheerio.
It's a bourbon barrel, aged in oak bourbon barrels. It's fantastic if you like bourbon.
And beer.
I don't like beer. I just like the bourbon.
I know. I'm kidding. Beer drinkers like it too. And with that,
Is that Nick making that noise?
I was just drumming my fingers, don't worry.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. I'm just waiting for all the noises to stop, and then I'm going to start. No. We're not going to do this.
no.
Okay. Airline Pilot Guy, episode 281.
Flight 209, are you clear for takeoff? Roger. LA departure 163.9.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door. I'm Captain Jeff, your host, broadcasting live from our Charlotte studio, number 250, in Charlotte, North Carolina. In this episode, we're going to talk about the laptop ban. That policy has ended for good. Past gas forces passengers to evacuate an airplane. More news, your feedback, and the latest Plain Tales segment, Wooden Wonders and Aluminium Overcast Part 2. So get all settled in. Tray tables. You got me. Tray tables and seatbacks in their upright and locked positions. Electronic devices powered on. Flight 281 is ready for pushback. I can't believe I had a what is that?
A perfect streak going.
What's the guy's name in?
you had a Ron Burgundy.
Ron
moment.
Burgundy moment.
Ron
I was
Burgundy.
going to say a Ron Jeremy
Don't say
moment.
it was not a Ron.
I haven't had one of those moments in time. Anyway, so great to have you with us on the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It is an aviation podcast, and I am a captain for a major U.S. legacy carrier. And joining me today, right next to me, as a matter of fact, is a doctor of psychiatry and a marathon runner, a skydiver. Of course, we all know the honorary Miss World 2017 and much, much more. Dr. Steph.
Well, thank you. I fly airplanes too sometimes.
That's right. Commercial multi-engine instrument-rated pilot. That's the most important part of all that, isn't it?
I think that's how I'm related to this show, actually.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm mostly here for the beer and camaraderie. So
There you go.
but
Yeah, you really don't want to be here for the aviation.
not so much.
Because, no, our approval or accuracy rating is almost to 50%.
Hey, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Glass is half full right there.
We stumbled a little bit a couple episodes ago.
A little bit.
Really dropped down quite a bit. But we're moving on up.
That's right.
We're upping our standards here. Up yours. And joining us from across the pond, a professional photographer, former fighter pilot, a long-haul Airbus pilot extraordinaire, Captain Nick Anderson.
Hi there, Jeff. Hi, Steph. Lovely to be joining you from here in lovely Blighty. It's pitch black outside, but we don't care. We're going to plow on till the wee hours.
Excellent. We hear that you do some of your best work at night.
Yep, I can snore with the best of them.
And also joining us from the lovely suburbs of Atlanta, we have a Harley-Davidson driver, rider, operator, I'm not sure what the right word is, a former regional jet pilot and now mainline Acme pilot, soon to be Captain Dana.
Good evening, all. Great to be back once again this week. Looking forward to another great show and joining the crew. And wish I was there in Charlotte so we could do another repertoire from a couple weeks ago. But if not, at least online together. So we'll have fun tonight. And thank you for having me once again.
You are welcome. And by the way, this is the exact same room that we did that show
I was wondering why I was having so much deja vu.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah. And you've done a show with me a couple times too. Maybe that's part of it.
That might be.
Yeah.
Lots of deja vu.
Yeah, lots of deja vu or vuja day. Your choice. All right. Well, we're going to do something a little bit different on this episode. We're going to jump right on into the news, and then we're going to catch up with what's been going on with everybody. So take it away.
Stand by for news.
That's not what I meant to do. Hang on, Paul. Just stay here. You don't want Paul. Okay, you ready? Don't come in too early.
Stand by for news.
The U.S. ends the laptop ban, with Saudi Arabia becoming the last airline whose customers are now, again, allowed to carry their laptops and other electronic devices on board U.S.-bound flights. In June, the U.S. Issued the new revised security measures directive for all airlines that operate U.S.-bound flights. The laptop ban was lifted for the carriers who follow and implement them. The new security requirements demand stricter baggage screening. In practice, these measures include the installing of explosives trace detection measures such as explosives detecting scanners or bomb-sniffing dogs at the airports. So the last airline to comply with all these enhanced screening procedures was, or not the airline, but the country, Saudi Arabia, and now it's lifted for everyone. So, yay, I guess that's good news. Doesn't really impact me because I don't do that kind of flying, but I'm sure that there are a lot of people flying those airlines from those origins, I guess, in the Middle East are probably pretty happy now that they don't have to put their
I'm sure
devices.
Everyone's happy that not all of their electronics are going together in the cargo hold, all piled one on top of another.
Yeah, now, I need to be clear. Yeah. Neville, I said bomb sniffing dogs, not bum sniffing dogs. It's something entirely different. And we're going to actually talk about a news article next, that a bum sniffing dog would probably come in handy.
That That would have been useful.
Yes, it may have prevented a catastrophe. Anyway, so what do y'all think? Is that good news, bad news? Do you care? Should we move on? What?
I do care, actually. I think it's a good thing because having all those lithium ions in the belly of an airplane that we can't control if they light off would be a bad thing. So I think it's a good move on the part of the security folks.
Yes. Speaking of lighting off, we'll move on to our next story. Let's see. A person who, quote, passed gas on an American Airlines plane.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Did you say something?
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay.
Continue.
I thought
Sorry. I had a little
you said
sneeze.
Captain. Okay.
It's a sneeze.
Okay.
I'm drinking beer. I have a lot of it.
On Sunday afternoon, forced all passengers off the jet, officials said. The incident happened when passengers on the flight became ill with nausea and headaches, according to a spokesperson with the Raleigh-Durham International Airport. The flight, which is not identified by RDU officials, landed at the airport around 4 p.m. when the incident was reported. All the passengers were taken off the plane, and after the incident was investigated, it was determined that a passenger passed gas, the official said. Now, I should be mentioning where I'm getting all these articles. Where did this one come from? Charlotte Observer.
Oh, Charlotte Observer.
Right here in Charlotte, North
Yeah,
Carolina.
it happened in Raleigh-Durham, so not too far away.
Yeah. So, of course, immediately everybody connected to the APG community was tweeting about this, wondering about if anybody had seen Captain Al. And perhaps he was over here in the U.S., non-rev traveling with us, and he had maybe one too many curries.
Entirely plausible.
Yeah. But so I'm thinking to myself when I was reading this, seriously, you had to evacuate? Is it what they said? They had to. Well, then they didn't evacuate it, did they? It
says passengers became ill. Yeah.
So what exactly? I mean, I've smelled some pretty nasty emissions, but
that's a nice way.
But I'm thinking, like, really? I mean, how bad does it have to be to actually get sick? Really? I don't know. Now I've never. No, trust me, or give me a break because I've never been in the kitchen studio in the PT UK headquarters with Captain Al after he has.
Nick has been there.
Relieved pressure. What do you think, Nick? Can you tell us what kind of experience that is?
Where have I been?
In the kitchen studio, recording PTUK with Captain Al present.
No. Luckily, it was in the bedroom studio. We were.
Oh.
So not quite as bad as the kitchen studio.
Okay.
And we positioned Captain Al, and he was facing inwards, but he was adjacent to the door.
Okay. So there was a good source of ventilation there?
There was. But no, to be fair, he did turn pink at times, but he was trying to be a gentleman about it. So I was very impressed.
And to be clear, we love Captain Al.
Oh, yeah.
And yes.
But he kind of pokes fun at himself, doesn't he? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No, I don't know. I've seen people become physically ill from noxious smells in the past. I've witnessed that in person from animal related odors. However, I'm just reading a little bit of what Mike is saying, and that perhaps in some follow-up reports there was some evidence that it wasn't related to past gas at all, but something different.
I'm reading that exactly now, which says the incident allegedly started when passengers on the flight became ill with nausea and headaches, spurred by a foul-smelling odor. However, American Airlines spokesman categorically denied this report.
Oh.
So
the flight was not evacuated, and the story is not true, says Fartstein in his interview with Mashable. I'm sorry, Feinstein in his interview with Mashable.
Okay. So
he said the odor issue was due to a mechanical fault, not past gas.
Okay. So apparently now our accuracy rating has dipped down again.
Well, I don't think it was our accuracy rating, to be fair.
Yeah, but we kind of perpetuated this this misinformation.
But it's such a good story.
This is fake news.
Yes, it is.
It is.
This is fake news right here.
I mean, yeah.
I'm sorry that we're
Absolutely.
participating in that. I really am.
I mean, I've caused several guys. I've caused several guys in the cockpit to actually put the oxygen mask on. So
you have caused it?
There is, Oh, yes. Yes.
You're one of those
got
guys?
Well, I've got my. No, I am not fumes. If you know who I'm talking about, but
You're talking about the vegetarian young lady?
yes, the vegetarian. The vegetarian. Yes, I'm talking about that. And but poor Gary, who you just had on a guest appearance when you were in Pittsburgh
On the meetup? And
meet up in Pittsburgh. Yeah, he had to wear the oxygen mask. It was that bad. So
wow. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess sometimes you just have to relieve pressure, but there are some people that don't really care, and they just relieve pressure just here and there and everywhere, and they don't.
Well, it's only natural. You can ask the doctor sitting right to your right and ask her about the natural occurrence of having to release gas.
It's natural. I'll leave
It's
it at
natural.
that.
There you go. Well, thank you. I'm glad I had a doctor to tell me that. Thank you, Steph.
You're welcome.
Doctor, I mean.
That'll be $100.
Oh, shoot. Okay, let's
In a
move
case
on.
of beer.
We've had enough of that one. I thought this was an interesting thing. I'm thinking, okay, let's see. Maybe you'll think it's interesting as well. I hope. Fellow passengers on a flight from Beijing to Shanghai on Sunday morning were more than a little perturbed when their takeoff was delayed by several hours after a kid somehow managed to sneak on board without a ticket. Just before taking to the skies, cabin crew aboard the Junyao Airlines flight discovered the miniature fare dodger during their final passenger checks. Apparently, the 4-year-old girl had managed to sneak past the security checkpoint and the boarding gate with help from her family of 2 adults and 2 more children. Afterward, all passengers were boarded or ordered off the plane and forced to go through security again while the family was detained. The flight finally took off about 5 hours later than scheduled. Blame for the incident is being passed around on Chinese social media, from the little girl's sneaky family to incompetent airport security. And let's see, however, this airline released a statement earlier today that said that the family would not be charged with any wrongdoing by China's Civil Aviation Authority. According to the statement, the little girl's parent thought that since she was under 120 centimeters, she did not need a ticket. Of course, everyone over the age of 2 needs a ticket, and toddlers under 2 still need a. So I guess, she thought it was like one of those rides.
Yeah, you must be this tall to ride, but in this case, you must be this tall to pay.
Yeah, it's an easy mistake to be made, of course.
If you're not a regular traveler,
I thought that was pretty cool that she came up with that. I thought you had to be
it's a good excuse.
this tall.
Honestly, I wasn't trying to sneak my 3rd child onto the plane or anything. I just thought there was,
Yeah, they didn't put the kid in size-wise, obviously.
Right.
This is baggage, right? Like they can just go overhead?
Yeah. Boink.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of that on Acme Red, Captain Nick?
Yeah, we always have to check the hat racks. That's the usual place.
The hat racks, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Got to move the chickens out of the way.
Exactly.
Enough of that story. The rare Lockheed L-1011 TriStar returns to the skies once more. There's a beautiful picture of an L-1011 painted up in livery that says TriStar Experience. The Lockheed L-1011 TriStar was a plane with a tragically short lifespan. It was expected to be a real contender against the Boeing 747, Douglas DC-10, and Airbus A300. It entered the market late, in large part due to delays resulting from some British engine manufacturer named Rolls-Royce, the only engine producer for the TriStar. Despite this, it is one of just a few airliners that elicits strong emotion from people of all ages and walks of life. Yes, we're talking about Carlos Stebbings.
Yeah.
Yes, Stebbings. It was
my brother, who used to work on them as an engineer.
Yeah.
Said, I think he called them the Death Star.
Oh, that's not fair.
In all honesty, I'm also a TriStar lover. It's actually my favorite aircraft that has ever flown in the skies commercially.
Well, that makes 3.
Awesome airplane.
How many more?
There's
It's awesome.
more.
It was way ahead of its time. And it was way ahead of its time, and it's a great aircraft.
I'm
if
amongst
it wasn't for the RB211.
Yeah, I'm amongst. I guess. There were probably thousands of people that ended up, crewing on the airplane. But I count myself as a very lucky person that I was able to actually fly the airplane for 3 years. And
I'm jealous.
The best airplane I've ever flown.
I don't think I ever
I'm
had the
jealous
pleasure
of
of
you.
flying on a TriStar.
Really?
No.
Oh, you missed it.
I know.
I've
trying to
been
think.
on the TriStar many times and flew the simulator quite a bit, actually. I just love that aircraft. It's the best aircraft. And I'm jealous of you, Jeff, because, I mean, I would love to have flown that aircraft. There's not another aircraft.
It really was. You know, a lot of people think that, you know, we're exaggerating. Those of us who and I was very reluctant. I reluctantly acknowledged that after having flown the 727 for quite some time and upgrading to the L1011, my good friend told me, "Oh, this is better than the 727," and I said, "No, there's no way that anything could be better than the 727." And then, you know, begrudgingly, after about a month of flying the airplane, I thought, you know what, he's right. I had to admit it.
There you go.
Airplane.
Yeah,
beautifully engineered. And it was ahead of its time for sure. This organization, I believe, based in Kansas City, the people behind TriStar Experience, they're an all-volunteer organization, have worked tirelessly for years to source and restore unique and special aircraft for the purposes of inspiring the next generation of STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, math workers. Oh, somebody fell down. Are you okay? Did you just destroy your MacBook, your laptop, Dana? Oh no! Oh, this is not good.
There's a lot of editing going to happen.
We're just worried about Dana's new computer at this point.
Yeah, I'm looking at him on the video.
Mute Dana.
I really think he knocked his beer over onto his laptop. He's holding it up like
it was like a clink,
it.
and now there's like, you know, it's unfortunate.
Whose idea was it to tell him to get a computer like that? Was it mine?
I think it was yours.
You are so mean, Jeff.
Well, it was not. I didn't tell him to drink the beer right next to it.
Yeah, we would never do anything like that.
I would never do something like that.
By the way, Micah, since we're taking a little break here, this is Paradise City Session IPA. However, did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard some screaming in the back.
Okay. All kinds of strange noises right now. The beers that you shared with Jeff are in the fridge, cooling down for me.
I delivered them to her today.
Yes, so success.
The tessellation
and the yerba mate something or other.
Yeah, the Shipyard, is that the name of the brewing company?
It's something like that.
Not Shipwreck, Shipyard, I believe, brewing. The one that, anyways, very good. I like that one.
So I'm looking forward to that, but they were not chilled, and it's about 100 degrees outside. So
yeah, it's not.
Hence, we're drinking low alcohol volume session IPAs that are cold.
Right.
Good for you. Going back to the news thing for a moment.
Yes.
I sucked gas out of plenty of those. So does that count?
Who? What?
Oh, he's talking about
sucked
refueling.
Gas out of plenty of those TriStars. Does that count?
Sorry, what did you say?
Lost there for a moment.
I have to edit this out as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sucked.
I did some area refueling behind that. In fact, I seem to recall we were the first operational aircraft to get onto the first TriStar that the Royal Air Force had, and the hose system wasn't quite up to snuff. It wouldn't work properly, but over the next few years, we used it plenty of times.
Sorry,
I'm just looking. Dana's gone.
Dana's completely gone. Yeah,
he's probably shut the computer off.
I'm sure. Well,
because he's got liquid all over it. We're guessing.
You mean these things aren't waterproof?
Apparently,
my phone is, or it's water resistant.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's cool. I have a 7 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 7 Plus.
The speaker doesn't work so well if you actually like submerge it and get it wet.
Why would you do that?
I mean, afterwards. Well, you know, if you live by a large body of water or have a hot tub,
and you go swimming with,
and you
phone.
like to use your phone, and social media while you're
and you drop it
enjoying
in the water. But it works okay now, right? It's all dried out. Okay.
It had no problem.
That's nice because I used to, when I went out for runs and walks and had the chance of getting rained upon, I'd always have like a little plastic baggie with me to put my phone in, but now I don't have to worry about it.
That's right. And I actually do have a life-proof case that I'll put the phone in when I'm going to be in the water. I have to do something to make sure it doesn't sink, though.
Yeah, because
it does not float.
Okay.
In case you were wondering.
Yeah, it should. Life-proof. Come on.
Yeah.
Get
Apple.
Your act together. Apple.
Where's your floatable?
Make a floating phone.
Floating
Maybe that's
phone.
the iPhone 8 will be a floating phone.
Good idea.
Okay. So the people. Okay, this is from. Well, you know, one episode is the only time I actually paid enough attention to sources, and now I'm back to my old bad ways of attribution from the airlinereporter.com. The people behind TriStar Experience, an all-volunteer organization, have worked tirelessly.
Tirelessly. How do you do that?
Have worked tirelessly.
Tirelessly.
Okay. The people behind TriStar Experience, an all-volunteer organization, have worked a lot for years to source and restore unique and special aircraft for the purposes of inspiring the next generation of STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, math workers. This L1011 joins already completed projects such as the MD-83 November 948 TW, also known as Wings of Pride. Readers may recall that the airline reporter was granted exclusive aviation media access of the arrival of TWA's Wings of Pride in 2015. So if you want to read more about this TriStar Experience, by the way, I was looking on YouTube, and I think I was they were taking off from what was it, Davis Monthan, I think, where the airplane was mothballed, and then they restored it, and they were flying it, I think, from there, could be somewhere else, to Kansas City downtown. And on takeoff, they had to shut one of the engines down, and they had to bring it back. So I'm not sure if it finally made it. Well, I guess it has, because it says it's parked now at this
Kansas
picture
City.
here, Kansas City International Airport, Gate 14. Anywho, you want to learn more about this great program and the wonderful airplane, the TriStar, the L1011, we'll put a link to this article in the show notes, and you can read it yourself.
A nice looking airplane.
It is. And it was fast and comfortable. Except, the flight attendants, though, it's a mixed bag, because this airplane, like the McDonnell Douglas DC-10 and MD-11, had a very high deck angle when it was cruising. So
the carts are sliding backwards down the aisle.
Yeah, and then pushing them uphill. Basically, it's like
just getting their workout in.
5-6 degrees nose high. Most airplanes, I think,
like 2, 3.
Yeah, about 2.5, 3. I don't know. Right, Nick? Doesn't your airplane?
That's what the Airbus is set at, 3 degrees.
Yeah. So I think most airplanes are like that, but this one was like double that. And when you're flying it, you really didn't notice it until you got up out of your seat to go use the restroom.
And then like, woo, going.
Slam into the bulkhead. Wow, this is really nose high. Anyway, so if you ask flight attendants who are old enough to have worked on this airplane, whether they liked the airplane or not, they some hated it and some loved it. Yes, is there somebody?
No, I'm sorry. Neville just rewound the video to watch Dana and his MacBook incident again. Said it's a classic, so I'm looking forward to watching that again.
We shouldn't really be joking, but it's really hard not to laugh about it. Sorry, Dana.
Yeah, no.
Well, as Jeff says, he's missing in action.
Yeah, in all seriousness, I hope the new computer is no worse for wear.
Has his 14 days.
Oh yeah, he could just take it back. I don't know. It doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
It's sticky too.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, that's all the news I had in the folder. There's probably other stuff going on in the world that's more important, but I haven't seen it.
Nah.
So I think that now might be a good time to kind of catch up on the community here and what we've the crew and what we've been doing since the last show. And
Dana bought a new computer.
I did, and apparently he's going to be in the market again for another new computer.
It's a sad situation, really.
It really is a sad situation.
So sad, with a sad situation, and it's getting more and more absurd.
Let's just pause for a moment in silence, just to kind of give good thoughts and prayers, if you are religious, to Dana and his ailing laptop.
Here's to the laptop, Dana.
Yeah. Cheers.
A toast.
Somehow that seems ironic.
Yeah. Very.
Oh, you notice.
Okay. Well, Nick, anything happening with you since the last show?
Well, yeah, the last show was in San Francisco. And
Yes.
we had promise of a marvelous day out. At least I had promise of a marvelous day out with Fred. And lo and behold, it all happened. It was brilliant. We were both a bit weary. So I had to drag myself out of bed because I'd been awake for a long time. And I'm just going to make a big apology now. I actually haven't listened to the last show. And towards the end, my language is becoming very slurred. And I do apologize for that. I really only had 3 beers.
We've all been there. It's okay.
Except for Dr. Steph. She's never been.
Never.
No. It's not a huge amount of alcohol, but it was, I was awake for over 24 hours. And so I think that might have had something to do with it. But I'm trying to say things and it's all just blending into one blurb. So for those of you who think I'm always like that, it's not true. Sometimes I'm quite.
Actually, we were very impressed with how well you were holding it together. We were thinking if we had been up for that long, we would just be
really were
passed out asleep.
Yeah, well, I don't think I really was holding it together, but
no, you did just fine.
Yes.
Anyway, I was picked up the very next day and whisked off to the Palo Alto airport by Fred, who piled me into a Cessna 172, and with the 2 Rons. There was a Ron flying whose name was something a little bit more than Ron, but all I can remember now is it was Ron and Ron. That's how I was introduced. And we did a kind of formation trip. Now, Fred is I've come to realize is a real stickler for doing things properly. He's takes all his flying very seriously, and we had a proper formation briefing. Even though we'd only be like together for 10 or 15 minutes, it was very impressive. And then we launched, all very nice. Very small runway at this airport, only about 2,500 feet. So we didn't do a formation takeoff, we did a stream takeoff. And then caught up very quickly in a turn after takeoff, and then moseyed on over to some clear airspace where we did some bunting and stunting as a pair, which was fabulous. And very nice. You were with the camera taking pictures of us, and I, of course, were taking pictures of them. So if you do go to the Facebook page, the Airline Pilot Guy Facebook page, you'll find an album there of all those air-to-air photographs, at least mine anyway. The Rons were just as good. And then we split apart, and Fred took me over. We were hoping to do the little tour around San Fran then, but we went straight across to Nut Tree, which is an airport very near to Travis Air Force Base. And from there, we climbed out, and Lieutenant Mitch Green was sitting there waiting for us. And as we parked up, he came strolling around to us, and we all said hello, and Mitch took us to Travis. And now Mitch is a C-17 pilot. And after a quick phone call, we all just strolled onto the flight line, and it's a very impressive base. It's huge. And there were C-5, C-17s, all sorts of huge transport aircraft around the place. And we found one that was powered up, wandered in. They're actually setting up for a mission that was going to be later on that day. And so it was all, singing and dancing. There were people moving around. It was all very interesting. Good look around the flight deck. I was very glad to hear that it was a McDonnell Douglas airplane. And it was only later, unfortunately, christened Boeing. But we know that it really is McDonnell Douglas underneath that paint. So that was very cool. And all took lots of pictures. So thank you very much indeed to Mitch for giving us that look around. A quick lunch. We treated Mitch to lunch. And then back in the aircraft. This time we got the full tour around San Francisco at about 1,500 feet. We drifted on around the city and actually went right around San Francisco Airport, where I'd only landed the day before. And there was one of Acme Red's aircraft sitting there waiting to depart later. And then back to whence we came. And it really was a fabulous day. Lovely flight, and enormous thanks to Fred for organizing that and setting it up for me. Yeah, I had a ball. I really did. It was great fun.
So did you see any really, really cool airplanes like maybe C-141B?
I don't know. We saw some. We went to a bit of a historic park that they have at Travis. We saw some old airplanes.
Yeah.
I don't think we saw anything that old. No, seriously.
I saw a picture
Or
of you
cool.
standing
Yeah.
in front of that.
We did. We
C-141
went to the
Starlifter.
Travis. They've got a sort of heritage park of old aircraft, and they have a lot of the 100 series fighters. Delta Dagger, Delta Dart, and bits and bobs like that. Some earlier stuff, World War II. Some aircraft I had never seen before, and was scratching my head trying to work out what they were. And a very early Hercules, I think it was called a Cargo Master, a 133A, with a funny, great radar nose on it. There was some brilliant
I saw the
airplanes.
picture of that one. That one was interesting.
Yeah.
It was. They were all super, and some of them in great nick as well. So that was lovely. And then there was a beautiful, what is it? What did you call it? A C-141? Is that it?
Yeah, the Starlifter.
Yeah, that's it. Painted and looking great, and called the Golden Bear.
The Golden Bear, yeah, because that's the
California.
the motto, the mascot, I guess, of the.
Oh, I thought it was after the golfer.
No.
Oh, okay.
Golfer?
Yeah.
Was
Who was called the Golden Bear?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I only
the-
know it in conjunction with this,
The state of
California.
California. When you look at the California state flag, you see the Golden Bear
yeah.
on it.
And Cal State
So,
or Cal.
I was
which
just
is the
curious,
mascot of
Jeff,
one of the
Yeah.
universities.
did
Anyway.
you actually fly that one?
That actual one that you were looking
Yeah.
at?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, probably. I don't know.
Maybe. Okay.
I really don't know.
Okay.
Jack-
And did you have an outside toilet on the side? I'm still waiting to find out that answer to that question.
No, we had a regular lav in the inside.
Oh,
of
okay.
it.
It's just that we saw what looked like a toilet rim and a hole, what would have been a hole, but on the side above an escape exit, and it looked just like someone.
Just,
had,
in
just
case
looked
as you're
like a
escaping from the
toilet.
aircraft, you have to use the lav. That's
Yeah, it looked like
your
a
last
toilet
opportunity.
seat. And it was stuck on the outside of the airplane, and we thought perhaps you had an outside toilet on the airplane, but perhaps.
I don't think so. I mean, it's been a long time since I flew that airplane, so perhaps my memory is failing me, but I don't think so. I think that
Photos, and you'll see the one I mean. It's a close up of the side of the
Okay.
fuselage.
I must have missed that one.
Well, apparently it was Jack Nicholas who is
Jack Nicholas. There we go.
That was the
Yeah,
chap.
the Golden Bear. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that you know what? Maybe California did name their state animal mascot after Jack Nicholas, and not the other way around.
I have
probably
no
not.
idea.
I'm just kidding.
Anyway, it was a very impressive looking airplane. I can see why you love flying it.
Yeah, I mean, it was everything that I've flown from Lockheed has been just amazing. So, yeah, that's cool. And so, what did you mentioned that Fred's a stickler for flying? What did you think about Fred's driving?
He drives very safely, but he's not. He's
He's like
certainly
an old
likes
grandma.
that.
He barely moves. I mean, it's just like people are honking at us because he's not driving fast.
No, there only
Well,
seem to be two
actually.
positions for the gas pedal. It's like on the floor or up in the air, and we're having our on the brakes. No, he drives very well. We had a good time.
Oh no, I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying he drives very, very quickly.
Safely.
Safely.
No, he certainly enjoys his driving.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, Fred's a great guy. He knows I'm joking around. It was a good time when I saw him a few weeks back for the other meetup we had there. So yeah, I mean, talking about a great host. Well, that was a.
Well, I need to get out there sometime and go flying with Fred.
So-
if you-
Well, he's very keen to show you what he can do with an airplane, Steph, and to watch you do the same. I think because he was saying, right now I've got to get Dr. Steph out.
Yeah,
no, I'd love to fly around the San Francisco area. I think that'd just be gorgeous.
yeah, it's cool.
Absolutely.
So, and did you have any kind of a meetup anywhere? Like more people show up, or was it just pretty much you? And
No, I was actually pretty whacked after that. So I know there were some guys who wanted to meet up, but I just didn't have the energy. I slept about 8 hours after that really long flight out, and then staying up doing the show. And the next night I slept for about 14 hours, and I still didn't feel right when I got on the airplane, completely rested when I got on the airplane, went home. So luckily it was a nice short flight home. We were just a little bit delayed because Gander's automatic air traffic flight planning system had gone down, and there were a lot of delays for transatlantic traffic. So we were being warned that we would be late off, and our aircraft that we were supposed to take home was late in because of it. So I think it was just a problem of allocating tracks, and they had reverted to HF procedures rather than using CBDLC. So that was obviously a bit of a problem, which
old school, man. Old
school. Old school, exactly right. Which made it just a little bit of a long flight home. But I'm all recovered now, which is nice.
Excellent.
So, and for those who did miss the chance to meet up, I have another San Francisco coming up next month. So I will try and arrange a meetup, and I will post something on Slack.
Okay. We'll learn later in the show how you, if you're not already on the APG Slack, Hillel will tell us. Is he?
He's waiting. Yeah, no, he's here.
Okay, good.
He's on standby.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he.
Good.
He snuck in while we were.
And I need to say, one of the big APG community members out there in Northern California, Tim Van Ram, also he gave me just a great goodie bag full of great stuff, and like a couple T-shirts. I gave you one of those San Francisco T-shirts. Gave one, and the great Herb Cain kind of what do you call that, coffee table kind of books, beautiful. Really large format picture kind of photograph books, a really nice San Francisco mug. But he gave me something to give to you, Captain Nick, along with a personal note. And I just wanted to let Tim know that if he's listening right now, that I just haven't had a chance. I haven't seen Captain Nick in person to give him the item that you gave me. So, but maybe when Nick is back out there, of course, I still have it. So. That's not going to work. No, yeah. But maybe you'll get an opportunity to actually.
I'm sure Nick will be in Atlanta before too long.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, I need one, but I haven't got one next month, and the following month I've got a lot of leave because I'm holidaying. Oh. So it may be a while, but
eventually,
yeah,
he'll be back in Atlanta.
It's not perishable. It's
no.
Oh, good. I was going to ask you if it was going to go off, but
no, if it did, then I would go ahead and consume it. But it's not. It's a piece of hardware.
Oh, so, lovely.
So anyway, just wanted to let Tim know that Captain Nick will get this item along with your personal note eventually. But maybe you'll get a chance to meet Tim and all the other great APG community members out there that I had a chance to meet when I was there in San Jose a few weeks back. So we'll let you know.
Yeah, looking forward to that if we get a chance.
Well, speaking of APG community members from far away and having meetups, we had this gentleman named Glenn Towler. You may have heard of him. Mm-hmm. He's been sending in feedback for quite some time, and he's a big part of our community. He is actually sort of on his way to Oshkosh, Wisconsin now. I think next week is when the EAA AirVenture starts. He flew into Atlanta, and dispatcher Mike picked him up from the airport, and he stayed with his family for a few days. And we decided to get together and have a meetup and go to a baseball game. I mentioned that on the last episode, I believe. And on Sunday, several of us got together and headed out to the new SunTrust. What do they call it? The Battery at SunTrust Park or something like that. It's the new ballpark. And we had a meetup. And I, of course, was able to get some audio of that meetup. So let's take a listen.
Well, we're here at the SunTrust Park in Cobb County on the north side of Atlanta for the Braves versus Diamondbacks game. Of course, the reason why we're here is this is an APG meetup, but the guest of honor is Glenn Towler, all the way from New Zealand just to watch this game. Say hello to the community, Glenn.
Hello, my fellow APG syndrome sufferers. My first ever baseball game, and it's just amazing, actually. Really, so much fun. And of course, it's such a great pleasure to meet Dispatcher Mike and Captain Jeff and soon to be Captain Dana and his wife and of course Miami Hick too. He's here with us. It's been really good. Yeah, it's good and hot.
I know. Yeah, it's very, very warm here today and humid. And Glenn's been up for I don't know how many hours. I guess he did get some sleep last night, but probably not enough. He's probably still suffering the effects of jet lag.
Yes, I'm sort of half alive.
He's doing a good job of fooling all of us, though. It looks like he's in pretty good shape. So he mentioned a few other people here, Dispatcher Mike. So let's let Mike say hello.
Everybody in community, hanging out with this group. Micah says it all the time, and I'm going to steal his words. You can't beat airplane people. Anytime you have a meetup or anything like this, airplane people and the aviation community itself, such a small community where we are, we look out for each other. Having Glenn come to stay at my house, no big deal. He's an airplane guy. I knew we'd get along without any problems. So, if you don't live anywhere where we've had a meetup yet, please keep looking at Captain Jeff's schedule and all of that. And when you see he's coming with his Mad Dog to your town, organize something. Set something up. It's not hard. Take the bull by the horns, set it up, and you'll have a great time, great experience. The amount of work that you put in is going to be absolutely positively worth everything you do. So I'll pass it on to everyone else.
Thanks, Mike, and thank you. Special thanks to Dispatcher Mike. He's the one that took the bull by the horns and organized this whole thing. So thank you. Appreciate that. And here's Dana.
Hey, APG community. This is FO Dana. We're out here at the game watching the Atlanta Braves play against Diamondbacks with some great APG community folks.
A baseball game going on?
Yeah, there is a baseball. Yeah, you haven't been paying attention the whole time, Dispatcher Mike. But we're out here having a great time. I have a special guest in town, all the way from New Zealand, and we're with Glenn Towler. I almost said Fowler. Towler. And we're enjoying finally some shade and good times. A handful of peanuts in my hand. And let's see. We also have Robert with us and Miami Hick. So we're looking forward to a nice afternoon.
Excellent. Thank you, Dana. Want to say anything, Julie? No. Thank you. I don't blame you. Here's Robert Thompson.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff, for the invite. It's been a great day, and finally the sun went away, so we will not roast the rest of the game. But thanks for the invite. It's been a fun afternoon. Thanks.
Hey, this is Miami Hick and Amber here enjoying this beautiful ball game at this beautiful new park, and we're not melting anymore from the sunshine. Oh, sorry, Jeff just pushed it a little closer to my face there. He has that problem sometimes, I hear. So anyway, I'm going to get on Miami Hick, over and out.
Yeah, we're having a great time. The ladies didn't want to talk. I don't blame them. And, so it's a great time. Wish you all could be with us. And Captain Jeff out.
Yeah, it was a great time. Oh, need to turn that off. I'm sorry. Had a speaker going there. Okay. We need to turn this back off as well. Here we go. This podcasting stuff is complicated.
It's really tough.
The video thing.
Yeah. I mean, complex.
It's not, the professionals are
a lot of brain cells to make all this run seamlessly. And
yes. And I
don't have enough.
Clearly, I don't have any. Anyway, we had a great time at the ballpark. And, first I thought I was really going to have to explain. F1 went over to a country that had a game like cricket or rugby or something like that. I'd have to have somebody trying to explain all the rules and what's going on and everything else. But apparently, and I thought I was going to have to do that with Glenn, but I didn't really because they play softball over there. And so, baseball is pretty much like softball. I mean, there's a few differences, but all in all, didn't have to explain the whole inning system and 3 outs and strikes and balls and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we had a great time. And before we went over to the ballpark, we parked in this area where they allow tailgating. And Mike set up a little Weber, like one of those little mini smoking Joes or whatever you call it, the
Little
Weber
grill.
grills. Yeah.
Mhm.
And we had some great burgers and brats.
Yeah, the brats look great.
Yeah.
You sent us some pictures of those marinating in the beer the night before. I think.
Yes.
Yes. Excellent.
Yes, it was wonderful. So,
And I couldn't make that, but looked like fun.
and
Braves
apparently,
won?
yeah, Braves won 8-1 or 7-1. It was a kind of a blowout against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Of course, the Cubs came into town the next 3 days or whatever and swept the Braves.
Go Cubs.
Yeah, they
Go
just
Cubs,
obliterated the Braves.
Yes.
But,
Excellent.
yeah, I know you'd be happy about that. So that was our meetup in Atlanta. We're going to have more meetups in Atlanta. By the way, I had a meetup today with. I need to make sure that I get his full name, because I know. Let's see, where is he here? Da, 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 da. Oh shoot, Perry, I believe. Perry. Oh yeah, here we go. Perry Haman, maybe Haman. He had contacted me and saw, looked at my schedule and said, "Hey, I see you're going to be in Atlanta on Monday, and if I might have a chance to talk for a short period of time." And sure enough, as I was pulling into T5 today in Atlanta, he said, "Just got here to the T5 gate area, and I see that you were delayed a little bit." Yeah, we had a little issue this morning starting off the trip, but we were able to catch up. And the nice thing is they left us. They had us keep the airplane once we came into the gate, so I didn't have to go to a different concourse and all that kind of stuff. So I saw this text from Perry and went out there and talked with him. And he gave me, speaking of Lockheed, by the way, he works. I hope it's okay for me to say that he works for this company that sounds like Lockheed.
Yeah.
Schlocky.
Lockheed. Bach-Need. That's it. No.
Knock-Need.
Knock-Need. That's it. Well, I was going to show you what he gave me. He gave me this really cool. I think I have it in the other room. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
What was it? A Knock-Need L1011.
A Knock-Need.
Should I just go find the
D5?
You're doing a great job explaining it in words.
No, it's a C5M, the latest for which I guess they're still making or doing work on or something. Anyway, it's a really cool patch. He said he was going to get me a 141 patch or something, and he said, but all that stuff that is just completely gone from their company store, and there was no cool stuff of the 141 anymore. So he got me this patch, which was really, really cool. So thank you, Perry. It was a pleasure talking with you, and I'm sorry it was only for a few minutes, but yeah, I told him that, hey, why weren't you at the baseball game? And he said, well, I was flying an airplane because I'd already rented this airplane and, reserved the airplane. And I thought, oh, okay, well, that's a pretty good excuse.
Yeah.
So
we never fault anyone for actually going out and flying.
No. So
that comes above pretty much everything
he
else.
said he's going to kind of pay attention. He's going to join the Slack. He's going to contact Hillel, and then he's going to be on the lookout for future meetups in the Atlanta area. And so we hope to get to spend more time with Perry and all of you out there. If you have a chance to meet up with us, it's a lot of fun. All right. And let's see. Speaking of Slack, I just wanted to remind everyone again that apparently we're going to have a lot of people, of course, a huge number of AvGeeks are going to be in Oshkosh, Wisconsin next week. And there is a special channel on Slack for the ABG group called Oshkosh 2017. Hashtag Oshkosh 2017. So if you haven't joined up on Slack, you need to contact Hillel and get on board. And especially if you're going to be going to Oshkosh next week. And there's still a strong possibility that I may end up showing up on Wednesday of next week. So Look forward to meeting everybody up there.
Well, I hope you make it.
Me too. All right. And let's see. Well, Dana, so what's been going on with you? Oh, nope, Dana's not here still. I really have a feeling that
it's not good.
Not a good thing going on in Atlanta with Dana and his brand new, very expensive MacBook Pro.
Just throw it in a bag of rice overnight. No.
Will that work? You think?
It worked with my phone.
Yeah, maybe it works with a laptop.
I mean, I didn't spill beer on it, but it did get dunked in the toilet.
Yeah.
So.
You know, the good thing about
It was not my fault.
The MacBook Pro, it's hard to drop in a toilet. This is a very large toilet.
Yes. Well, you know, liquids.
Yeah. Right.
Just working on that principle.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, I was hoping to talk with Dana about his recent experience. He, for the very first time, I think he screwed up his bidding somehow and ended up flying an all-nighter
A
red-eye from Denver to Atlanta, and he did that early this morning, and got back to Atlanta in the wee hours, and he expressed his feelings about the experience.
Mm-hmm. He was not. They were not favorable.
No
feelings.
They were not positive.
Yeah.
Didn't get a lot of positive vibes from his experience flying the red eye, and he said that was. I think I don't want to use his exact words because I don't really think I can. It's a family show, but he's not going to do that again if he can help it. But I was saying, you know, for a red eye flight going from Denver to Atlanta is really probably the least painful thing that we have that's considered a red eye.
It's not like LA to New York or something.
No. Or Honolulu
back
to Atlanta. That's painful.
Oh.
Yeah, very painful. Yeah. Anyway, so maybe we'll hear from Dana
we
in the
hope.
future.
We do.
And you can tell us about that. Okay, well, I think we should move on, of course, to the best part of the show, which, of course, is your feedback.
Captain, incoming message.
Oh, wait a minute. We have some breaking news, or at least I'm looking at the video, the Hangout on Air video, and this is I think it's a good sign. We see so Dana. I see his picture. Not sure if he's using the same.
Actually,
pardon me.
Terrible sign.
Uh-oh. No, it's not. So
yeah,
please tell us what has happened in the last 20, 25 minutes.
I just lost about $2,000. That's what just happened.
So let me guess. You bumped your beer and it spilled all over your brand new laptop.
Directly on the laptop. And I'm on the Lenovo because that's the only thing I have that's working right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are terribly sorry about this.
That's what happens when you've been up since 12:30 at night and just absolutely completely exhausted.
We were just talking about that, Dana, because we were just kind of going over that, what's been happening with you segment of the show. And I just mentioned that you experienced something new early this morning from Denver to Atlanta.
Yeah, in 15 years of flying, I've never flown a red eye, and I will never, if I can ever avoid it again, ever do one again. I am not a backside clock guy, and my laptop is now sitting in rice.
Oh, good. Although someone just told me, because we were talking about the rice trick, but someone said it doesn't work with beer. It takes the water and leaves sticky goo behind. But I don't know anything better to do for it. So
I mean, it's worth a try, right?
So yeah.
Well, I actually washed it out with water.
There you go.
And then use air pressure from
to dry it.
To dry it. And now I'm going to put rice on it. So, yeah, I just lost $2,000.
No. Glass half full, Dana. I'm sure it's gonna work just fine. And just out of curiosity, is it still within the 14-day period?
No, I'm just outside of it.
Oh no!
Dang it! Oh man. Well, I think that maybe somebody listening will have some ideas.
And if nothing else, we're all thinking positive thoughts. And
we did. We actually stopped
vibes.
for a few seconds to send you some positive vibes, and also we toasted you and
the laptop.
And the laptop.
Yep.
With beer. All right.
And no one's probably really interested, but I spent the weekend in Chicago. It was nice.
Oh, that's right. We never got to yours. I'm sorry, Steph. I thought we'd already.
It's fine.
No, tell us
if anybody.
Huh?
If anybody out in the community knows if I've got Apple Care thank God. Whether they cover liquid, I don't know. I was trying to look it up, but not sure they do.
I think it's worth at least taking it back to the store and finding out.
Matt D says, get some AppleCare, and usually they will take care of it.
I have AppleCare.
All right.
There you
We
go.
don't need to get some then. This is going to be okay, I think. The only thing you need to do is just go in there and be honest and say, this is what happened. Don't.
I'd just take it and be like, I don't know. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Well, you could probably get away with that. We can't.
Yeah. All of a sudden, this beer started bubbling out of the keyboard.
I don't know where it came from because I don't even
Mysterious
drink. Well, you
beer,
could say
yeah.
that. I don't even drink beer. I drink bourbon.
That's right. I don't know where this beer came from.
Yeah, I don't know where that beer came from. Oh well. So please, really, I'm sorry, Steph. She's just making me feel bad. What?
I wasn't even going to say anything. I'm sorry that I did.
Okay, well, let's move on then. I don't care about your stupid weekend in Chicago. Why were you in Chicago?
We were in Chicago because I took my dad out there to see a Jimmy Buffett concert.
Ooh, I
for
love
his-
Jimmy Buffett.
for his birthday. So
Is he? How's he sound? Is he still sounding like he
great.
always has?
Yeah, actually, it was probably I've been to I think 3 shows now. This was probably my favorite of all of them for
nice.
for a variety of reasons. One was the set list that was played was excellent. It always is, but this one was especially so. Seemed like more of my favorites.
Did he like to do a big from the old stuff and the new
Oh yeah,
stuff?
good mix of everything.
Anything from Volcano?
Mhm.
Like
Volcano.
I'm looking for that, of course. One of my favorites is I'm looking for a smart woman in a very short skirt. That's a good song. You should check it out.
Okay, I don't.
But
think that
also
was
some of his
played,
early stuff, like a what is it? A Pirate
looks at
Looks at 40.
Mhm.
That's an awesome
played.
one.
And-
Tire Swing.
I don't think
Life is just a tire swing.
Yeah, I don't think that was played. So sorry.
Some good. Of course,
But anyway,
Margarita.
Yeah, I
They'll-
mean all the
Yeah,
standards, of course. But it was at Wrigley Field.
Oh,
Which
nice.
is awesome. And he was actually the first person to play a concert at Wrigley Field.
Oh, wow.
And he said if the Cubs ever won the World Series, he'd be back. So he was
he's
making
back.
good on his promise.
Very
So
good.
It was great. It was, like 41,000 people crammed into Wrigley Field. And yeah, a good weekend.
Yeah, and so I saw some beautiful photographs you took when you were in what we used to call the Sears Tower, and now it's called something else.
It's still called the Sears Tower, just spelled Willis, I think.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a strange pronunciation. But yeah, we went up to the sky deck up there on the 103rd floor, which is like 1,350 feet above street level. I have actually never been up to the top of the Sears Tower, despite having lived in Chicago for the first 13 years of my life and going back there frequently. Seems like I always make it up to the top of the John Hancock Center, but never over in Sears Tower. So that was nice. Not maybe the greatest weather day, except I thought it was really interesting because we were kind of just skimming the very bottom layer of the lowest cloud layer. So some neat time-lapse photo opportunities there when I could get my phone to just sit on the ledge. It kept falling off. So I have a whole bunch of videos where it's like 2 seconds of video and then so
Oh, the one that I saw, apparently, the one that you published. Was
I did
beautiful.
finally get it figured out. So
Seeing the clouds kind of rolling in. And
yeah, so that was, feel like weather related stuff that was really interesting.
Now,
And,
if you have, what is it called? Agoraphobia? The fear of heights?
Yeah.
Don't look at some of those photographs because she's in this glass enclosure and it's like you look straight down and you can see through.
Yeah, you can
her
see
feet.
103 stories straight to Whackers Drive below you. So yeah.
You know, it's interesting though. I think that we were talking about it on Twitter that a lot of pilots have
fear of
heights.
Sure. Yeah.
And you think, well, how can you be a pilot and have fear of fights?
Flight.
Fear
of heights.
There we go. Fear of landing. Fear
It
of
has more to do with, how that height is presented, whether there's something that's stopping you from falling down through that height or not. So I don't particularly.
I always thought it had something to do like you're connected to the ground and you're really high up. Whereas if you're in an airplane, you're not connected. So for some reason, I don't know.
I don't know. Cause I don't like to be on like, an unprotected cliff, if you're up in the mountains or something like that. I really don't like that.
Unless
I have
there's some kind of a railing. Yeah, you could.
Yeah, and
fall
even
over.
if the railing is low, I
Mhm.
don't really like that. So, strangely, I have no problem jumping out of an airplane because in my mind, I have the parachute for that.
Well, you're just crazy.
I know. So, but yeah, it was a very nice weekend in Chicago. We walked a lot, had a lot of time to just enjoy the city and some really nice weather and a break from the heat here. So, yeah.
Very nice. Dana, other than your experience recently flying that, we already talked about the the Braves game. I don't know if you wanted to say anything about that, but we had a great time tailgating and watching baseball and catching up with the APG community there.
Well, I had a really great experience with the.
Oh, if you're busy, don't worry about it. I think it sounds like he's on.
Yeah.
I'm on
Apple
support. Okay, yeah. Well, forget.
We'll come back to you later.
Yeah.
Just give us the thumbs up when you're ready to go.
Okay,
Send us
there
a
we go.
text.
He just muted himself and turned his video off. Okay, we understand.
Well, actually, they're going to call me back in 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So, to be quite honest with you, I had a fantastic overnight in Denver. I was very surprised that they had the Colorado Rockies were playing a day game yesterday, which worked out to be fantastic. Went to the game and I've never done this. I've scalped a ticket and was sitting 11 rows behind first base dugout, which is the home dugout for the Rockies. And I got to witness a absolute San Diego Padres. It was 18-4. Wow. I've never seen so many home runs in one game. So flew with a good guy. We had no major issues over the 4-day period, other than we didn't do any crew bonding beyond the cockpit. So it was an exciting week. Excuse me. So I'll let you go with that, and I'll be back.
Okay. Thank you, Dana.
See you soon.
Yes, more important things to worry about right now, like that brand new, very expensive computer that he spilled beer on. Okay. Mm-hmm. Anything else, Nick? We already covered. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody because apparently I'm not being inclusive.
No, you're good.
Okay.
No, everything's fine here. I'm heading off on Saturday back to New York, but that's another trip.
Oh, okay. Is there going to be another meetup in New York?
I don't think so. Well, I could do. I'm land very late Saturday, so that's a non-player. I might be around Sunday, but of course, no one in America drinks on a Sunday, do they? You all go to church, so.
Yeah, no.
Not all of
maybe 20 or 30 years ago.
But I don't know.
In North Carolina, you'd be in trouble until about noon.
Yeah.
But not everywhere.
I'm at Grandma's house, and I don't think I'll have a chance to because we have quite an early checkout on Monday morning, so I can't really drink Sunday evening. So it may not work out.
And trust me, if Nick's not drinking, he's not any fun at all. So you don't want to have the meetup. No. I'm just kidding. Of course, that I'm being facetious. All right. Well, now I think might be a good time for us to move on with the best part of the show.
Captain, incoming message.
Yeah, just a quick pause. For those of you in the chat room, they're talking about the fact that many of these people have spanners or wrenches, I would say, because they're moderators in the chat room. And the reason why we had to make a bunch of people moderators is because I used to post these, the feed to the public. And people would just stumble upon us doing this show, this recording. And they're like a bunch of, 10-year-olds or something, just saying really
people
rude.
With nothing better to do with their time.
So finally I thought, wait a minute, why don't I just make this an unlisted thing and nobody will know except for the people that really want to watch it.
Right. You have to get a notification.
Yeah.
See the notification. To know.
So now we still have all these moderators and we really don't need them, which is a good thing.
Pip wants them back.
He wants the trolls.
No Pip.
Well, Pip is our only troll now. Okay. Let's go over here to this thing here, which we call feedback. And let's start off with this piece of feedback that was sent in quite some time ago in May 13th by Richard. He said, I keep seeing an old video on Facebook of an American Airlines MD-80 doing a power back from the gate. Is this procedure still done nowadays? Do you ever do them in your aircraft? I imagine it uses a lot of fuel unnecessarily. And no, I don't think that I'm pretty sure that Acme we never did this procedure. I know that American did, and some other airlines that have the Mad Dogs DC-9s, that kind of thing, tail-mounted engines that would use reverse thrust to back out of the gate, and then once they got to a certain point, they'd stow the reversers and use a little bit of forward thrust to stop the airplane from moving. And I don't believe fuel consumption was the reason why they stopped doing it. It was, I think, more to do with the fact that it was kind of a risky thing for the engines and kicking up a lot of, potential foreign object damage stuff on the ramp and that kind of thing. And it just worked out that it wasn't economically feasible to do that procedure. I'm pretty sure that's why they stopped doing it. Perhaps perhaps some airlines are still doing that out there. I haven't seen that happen in quite some time. So no, and we never. And one of the things that my wife said, because every time that I've had any kind of an incident with a car, like bending metal in a car, usually involved me backing up,
reversing.
Mm-hmm. And my wife was quite concerned when she heard that it was a possibility that I would be in an airplane going in reverse.
And I got it. And by the way, there's no rear view mirrors.
I know.
Or anything. I'm just going to trust
the marshal out down there to make sure that you're not going to hit something. And I gave my wife the very. She really wanted to hear this when I told her that no, we at Acme do not do the power back procedure, and she goes, "Oh, good, just worried about that. Just worried about you."
Of course, you could do it without marshallers like that Thompson guy. Did you see the video of the guy? That...
You know what? That somebody sent us in some feedback.
Oh, is that coming later?
Think of it, and well, you know what? Let's talk about it right now. I'm going to go to the feedback folder and let's see. This is kind of one of those on the fly, Captain Nick putting something into I like it. No, this is good.
We just have to find this feedback.
Because that was a bit sporting. That was.
Yeah, where is that feedback? I know it's in here somewhere. I didn't throw it away. Just holler if you see it, Steph.
I'm looking.
There it is.
Nick,
sorry.
Stop it. I don't think I got rid of it. Shoot. Well, it's in here somewhere. Somebody, one of you out there, sent us in a link to. I think it was it Tanya or was it Rebecca? Somebody. It was one of our female APG members. Darn it! I don't see it. Well, heck. There was a video, as Captain Nick just mentioned, of what you said was a Russian airline, TUI or something like that, TUI. Was that the name of the airline?
Well, I thought it was Thompson, but because it has that, they're a British charter outfit for holiday makers. But it was only because I thought I saw their logo on the fin, but I may not be right. But
Steph's going to do some on-the-spot research and see if she can find that referenced. Maybe somebody in the chat room has already come up with the answer, or maybe they're just talking about other things and not even paying attention to what we're saying.
No, that's quite likely.
More likely, of course. Boy. Good thing I have a long layover tomorrow. By the way, I should have mentioned in our little, catching up with what we're doing kind of thing, that tomorrow I'll be in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm going to meet probably at least 3 APG members while I'm there. We're going to be meeting up at the Short North Pint. By the way, I didn't realize that Short North was like an area of like a neighborhood in Columbus. Now it makes a lot of sense that the place that we're going to is called the Short North Pint. Has nothing to do with Short Pint, as I incorrectly stated last show. And we're going to meet there. I'm going to try to get there around 5 o'clock-ish. And James is going to be there. Jennifer is going to be there. And I believe maybe even Dr. John coming in from Toronto, flying his airplane all the way down, which is pretty cool. So we shall see. Hopefully more of you will be able to join us if you're in that area. And that, again, is tomorrow, Friday, the 21st of July. And still no luck, Steph?
No, I don't see it. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, how about like going to like Google and doing a search for?
I can do that.
Yeah, reverse thrust, YouTube. I don't know what other search
I'll
term.
specify aircraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was vamping that whole time, and
I'm sorry, I did not.
That's okay. It's my fault. I did something wrong. I don't know what I did with that piece of feedback. Or maybe I did put it in the regular feedback folder. Is that where it is? I mean, the for this episode. Oh, yeah, here it is.
Oh, it's in the,
it's in the dark.
That's why I can't find it.
It was in the, I had already planned on talking about this. So, hey, let's make this transition right here. Hey, that's a great segue,
Smooth.
Captain Nick. Very smooth.
Seamless.
Janelle sent us some feedback. I told you it was a female APG community member. She goes, hey, crew, I ran across this on YouTube today, and I thought I would share. And she gives us the link, and she says, in the first 2 minutes, watch as a TUI, TUI 757 lands and rolls out, missing their turn to the left onto a taxiway. In a rare move, the captain decides to go for a 3-point turn, back up the bird on the runway using reverse thrust. The video is titled poorly, calling reverse gear, but in the description, the video poster does seem to understand that it is not, in fact, a gear at all. I have to wonder what the folks in the 737 that comes into frame are thinking watching this. All the best from muggy southern Missouri. Talons, Douglas. Janelle. Thank you, Janelle, for sending that link in to us. And yeah, so I guess you wanted us to kind of comment on, is this like something that is a normal thing? No. I know that some airlines, like mine, that is expressly forbidden. We can't do that. We can't go to an end of the runway and go, oops, we overshot a little bit, so I need to just pop these things in reverse a little bit and back up and then, get going the right way.
Yeah.
How about you, Captain Nick? Do you guys routinely do that?
No. I think I reckon if a skipper did that or allowed it to happen, I think that'd probably be the last time he'd work for us if anyone found out about it. There are all sorts of problems that can occur. The aircraft's probably not certified for it. He's certainly not doing it with any marshalers, so he doesn't know what's behind him. He may have accomplished it safely, and it may have neatly avoided having to do a 180 on the runway, but quite honestly, that is by far the safest thing, assuming that his turning circle is sufficient to be able to do a 180 on that runway. But I'm pretty sure it would be. He's not a huge airplane. So I think he was just trying to save the embarrassment of realizing that he'd trying to take that turn way too late, and he probably didn't have enough room left to get his gear onto the taxiway without trundling over the grass. So, it looks like he was just trying to
It's not embarrassing at all to have to do a 3-point turn and reverse.
Well, exactly. And we all know how many people sit on the aircraft, particularly someone on holiday. Everyone's got their phones out recording the interesting bits of the flights. How he ever thought he was going to get away with it without someone having it on video?
That's the thing. This is the world we live in now.
Yep.
You can't do, you have to know that if you do something like this, you're not going to get away with it.
Because I'm sitting back there
Yeah.
recording all of it.
And somebody on the airport, plane spotters are out there everywhere.
Recording all of it.
Yeah. It's like not a good idea. Well, maybe that company, we don't know. Perhaps this is an authorized procedure. I doubt it. But I bet that Captain Nick's right. I bet this guy probably had to maybe explain himself. Explaining to do.
Yeah.
Now I understand. Let me correct myself. Captain Jeff in the chat room says that at his company they do this all the time in the 737. No, I'm just kidding.
Mr. Turnoff.
Exactly.
Just kidding, Jeff. Not trying to get you in trouble, but we do have some video of it. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. Getting back. Yeah. So, it used to be a kind of a common thing at some airlines, Richard, but no, I don't think anybody's doing the power backs anymore. Thanks for the feedback, sir. Nick, Oh, Nick, you didn't have to write in. You could just send in your feedback by being on the show. Oh, wait a minute. This is a different Nick. Nick Carson sent in a link to a video on YouTube. He said the middle seat may be the best soon with revolutionary design. And he said, I found this video on YouTube quite interesting, and I hope that the community finds it interesting as well. And basically, it was from what I remember, it's been a while since I've looked at this video, but it was like a system where these seats kind of like move forward or aft and then kind of slide from left to right to kind of make a narrow body aisle airplane like a big wide body kind of aisle where people have
just a lot more access to the middle seat, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. But I don't know.
See the practicality in that. And it's going to take up more space than I think.
And probably more weight too.
Yeah.
With the mechanism to allow all that, I don't know. I think that if it's going to be some kind of a penalty and expense for an airline, especially in this economic environment, that the airline's going to go, no, I'd just rather keep it the way it is and let people suffer back there. Because if you're not happy, we're not happy. Thank you, Nick, for that. It's been a while since we've gotten feedback from you, Nick. We appreciate that. And he's been at a couple Atlanta meetups, and so look forward to seeing you again sometime, Nick. Hope your summer is going well. Bennett sent this in, and you remember us talking about this little oopsie a while back. When was it exactly? July 7th, 2016, about a little over a year ago. There was an Airbus A320 for a certain airline heading into Kilo Romeo Alpha Papa, which actually, when you think about it, is an interesting, if you pronounce it KRAP, it's not very
Rapid City?
Yeah, Rapid City. There we go.
Yeah.
And they were coming into Rapid City. There was a last minute change of runways, and the captain and first officer were looking apparently at the wrong airport, and it was one of those instances where the flight landed at the wrong airport. In this case, landed at Kilo Romeo Charlie Alpha, which is the Air Force base there. What is the name of the Air Force base?
Ellsworth.
Ellsworth, thank you. And there, as many of these cases happen, these airports, the airport layout, the runway layouts are very similar, oriented. Of course, that the way they design airports is to, kind of align with the
prevailing winds.
Yeah. So, it's not unusual that if the runway is aligned a certain way, that all the airports in that area are going to be aligned pretty similarly. Although the Ellsworth Air Force Base runway is much larger because they fly bombers out of there, or used to anyway. So the report was released just recently on this incident landing at the wrong airport. And this is from the outstanding resource that we use here a lot, the Aviation Herald by Simon Haradke. Probably not pronouncing his last name correctly, but I believe he's an Austrian who does this site. And by the way, if you haven't already done so, please consider giving Simon some money. You can kind of give him like a monthly amount, like many of you do for our show, become sort of like a patron. Although I don't believe he uses Patreon, but you can sign up to kind of have a certain amount of money going to him, because he's doing this basically on his own. I don't know if he's making any money at all doing this. I think he just loves doing it. So Aviation Herald, check it out. But let's see, the NTSB concluded the report by saying, at the time air traffic control cleared the flight for the visual approach, the airplane was positioned on the final approach course of the RNAV 14 approach and at a reasonable altitude for that approach. Therefore, there was no immediate indication to air traffic control that the crew had identified the wrong airport. Shortly after that, the captain increased the descent rate as high as 1,200 feet per minute, resulting in an unstable approach as he was focused on the wrong landing runway. The crew realized the mistake just prior to touchdown, but considered it was safer to complete the landing at that point. So we'll put the link to this article from the Aviation Herald in the show notes. And I also ended up capturing the actual track from FlightAware.com, and you can see the relative position of Rapid City and Ellsworth Air Force Base, and the fact that they were basically setting up for a long left downwind for Rapid City, and then instead of correctly identifying the airport, obviously the captain fixated on the wrong airport. And we've talked about this. This is one of those human factors things that you see something and you're just convinced that this is the airport. And a lot of people ask you, well, how in the world could you possibly land at the wrong airport? Now, we'll always say, well, if you had used some of your backup instrumentation and made sure that even though you were flying an approach visually, you have some kind of an instrument backup, you're looking at your map and it matches what you're doing and the airport you're going to and the distance and all that kind of stuff. And how does this still happen in this day and time? And it's just because we're humans.
And looking at just even the Google Earth picture that you captured there, Ellsworth is a lot easier to see on the map than
it's
Rapid
much
City.
Bigger.
It's much larger.
Very inviting.
Yes. I mean, and that looks like what you might be expecting to see at an airport that you would be expecting to land at. So
yeah. So big mistake, of course. Was not a good thing. But anyway, so Bennett writes, just wondering if you guys could discuss this article, which we did. And let's see, what did he say? Okay, he just wanted us to discuss it. He didn't have a specific question. So,
well, there's two areas there that you've mentioned, Jeff. One, which is the captain fixating, but I'm surprised at the pilot monitoring. Now, generally speaking, when you're PM, you have a lot better situational awareness of the overall conduct of the flight, because you're not the one trying to do all the mental maths of get the height off and comparing your distance out and trying to call for all the services, etc. You're just sitting back there, and I'm surprised he wasn't going, Captain, the bloody moving map has this airfield like 12 miles away, not 3 miles away. So, what's going on? So I suspect there was a bit of a breakdown from both of them there.
Yeah, I think that in the report it did say something about the fact that it sounded like here it is. The first officer did query the captain if he had the right airport in sight, who expressed some uncertainty. And also, interestingly, the air traffic controllers, when they cleared the flight for the visual approach, they said, quote, "Visual approach runway 14. Use caution for Ellsworth Air Force Base located 6 miles northwest of Rapid City Regional." So during the interviews, the NTSB wrote, the crew stated they misheard the controller's warning for the typical position advisory given on an instrument approach and supported their idea that the correct landing runway was 6 miles away. So again, there were some basic communication breakdowns as well. But you're right, Captain Nick. Pilot monitoring should have caught that and said, "Look, this is not matching up. I don't think you're looking at the right airport."
I mean, Dana has the right idea. He would have knocked the captain out and taken control. So,
absolutely, I would absolutely knocked him out and taken control.
Yeah,
100%.
But the other thing I will say now, I'd love to hear this on ATC Live. How the controller gave his warning, because if it's one of those standard warnings that they give to every aircraft that's making an approach, I bet it was spat out in 5 seconds flat rather than making the point, because that controller probably gets so used to spitting it out, and most aircraft he speaks to know all about the problem. But if he had made a separate, clear enunciation, I wonder if it had perhaps penetrated. Although we all know that when we're in high pressure workload situations, as this guy put himself in when he realized that he was too high for the airfield he thought he was supposed to land at, one of the first things that you stop doing is listening. It's the easiest thing to do, is to stop hearing what people are saying to you, because your brain is going so fast. It takes quite a time for your brain to process all your information and for it to break through. So, it may not have mattered how he said it.
There's a term for that, isn't there? Like expectation, something or other, where you don't. You hear people talking to you and saying something, but it's you kind of in your head you're understanding it to be what you expect them to tell you. Expectation bias, I think, is that the name of the
sounds good.
So whether it be your visual assessment of the airport or what you're listening to on the frequency, you're expecting them to say this, and that's what you hear instead of what they actually really
so
said.
Controller says, use caution, Air Force Base 6 miles ahead.
Yeah.
And what they hear is airport
6 miles ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the one you should land on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an embarrassing thing. It's not we've talked about landing on the wrong runways several times on the show. And
taxiways.
And taxiways too. All right. Well, Bennett, hope that satisfied your curiosity regarding this, and it's always good to talk about these kind of things and kind of keep them in the back of your mind when you're going into a place that you're not really familiar with, and needing to really, really pay close attention, even if the weather is beautiful. You really need to back everything up. And of course, finally, I guess probably the best thing to always keep in mind is that you can always
go around
when you're not sure.
If it don't look right coming down, don't wait until your cyberspace sliding on the ground.
You can always go around. All right. Now, this is an interesting one, or as Paul Harvey would say, this is a strange. Pat writes in, send us a link to an article from the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Company, cbc.ca. Hello, Jeff and ABG crew. I thought you might find this story interesting. It certainly makes me want to stick to real airlines.
in quotes.
So, I don't know. I think maybe that's kind of unfair to say it like that. Not me. I didn't say that. Let's see. Also, Brett sent us the same link, actually, to this thing going on here with Air Transat / Flair Air, and the title is The Mexican Game. And apparently it has to do with the way airlines publish their schedules and their flights, and using aircraft on routes that clearly cannot actually do that flight based on distance and other considerations like reserve fuel and all that kind of stuff. And so what they do is even before they serve this particular route, they already know that they're going to have to stop somewhere en route to refuel and have enough gas to complete the thing. But they don't really
They don't advertise it?
No, they don't really.
Hey, we're going to be making a stop somewhere.
And you don't find out, you, Joe passenger, Jolene, until you're actually on the flight, and now they're telling you that, I know you thought this was going to be a nonstop flight, but it's not really nonstop. We're going to have to stop and get some gas, because if we don't, we're not going to make it.
It's just direct.
Yeah, direct flight. So this article talks about, and the YouTube video about this practice, and whether or not this is something that's ethical, and should airlines be allowed to do this kind of thing, or should it be more clearly stated so you're not misleading the public when you sell them tickets to do this kind of thing. So I don't know. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that in this day and age, you have to at least say somewhere, even if you pull a little asterisk, put it at the bottom, this flight may stop for refueling purposes. You will not have to, get off the aircraft, or say whatever it is. That's the kind of the fine print there, so that people know. But
right.
I mean, I don't have a problem with them doing it as long as people know what they're purchasing.
Now, Dana and I know, and perhaps many of you listening already know, that they're even Acme sometimes we'll try to fly a flight from Atlanta to let's say Tucson, and you know, unless there's something unusual about the winds or the weather or whatever, you know, a higher requirement for fuel for an alternate, or the winds are much stronger than they normally are, that there's a good chance that when you're flying from Atlanta to Tucson certain times of year on the airplane that we fly, that you can't make it. You're going to have to stop in El Paso to.
And I think the difference is if it's expected that it's going to happen more often than not. We should probably have a disclaimer.
So apparently this Mexican game or whatever they're calling it, it's like there's no way they could possibly make it that it's going to be for sure every single time you're going to stop.
I mean, I think they mentioned, especially when going back north. So heading from the north to the south, taking off in colder climates. You know, fuel efficiency is a little bit better. So they don't always have to make that stop. But the other way around, taking off in the warmer climates, it's not the same case.
Right. And let me tell you, I've done that flight, that segment between Atlanta and Tucson, and when the winds are a little bit stronger than you normally get, and you are constantly watching your fuel consumption and making sure that you can continue all the way. And, you know, we make every effort to do so, but then, you know, sometimes you just kind of shake your head and go, nope, we're not going to be able to make it. We're going to have to stop or get topped off and get a little bit more gas. Here's a quote from Harold Knopp, Flair Air's director of flight operations, one of the airlines, talked about in this article, this Mexican game. Air Transat has advised us. I guess they kind of do work for Air Transat. So I guess Air Transat contracts with Flair Air to do these segments. And he said they advised it that this method has worked successfully and without any issues with previous operators, and that there was no negative passenger reaction in these situations. However, apparently there have been some negative reactions because we
have a story about it. Yes, someone has complained.
Right. Yes. So
it is interesting, just because those of us who do this very rarely, and even if you've got the capacity to take as much fuel as you want, we're frequently going to take only that you believe you need. And if you do meet some adverse conditions on the way, you may well have to pop into an airfield short of your destination. And it does happen in Acme Red occasionally. So it would be a shame if all the passengers heard this and suddenly thought any airplane that throws into an airfield for a quick top-up, quick splash and dash, as we say, must be trying to pull the wool over our eyes. But you're quite right when you say that, no, it's not the way it works. We carry suitable reserves, but sometimes something unexpected happens. It might be an air traffic delay, it might be weather, and you just don't feel it's entirely a good idea to continue on with a low fuel reserve. So you decide to take extra fuel, as a good captain would. But there is a significant difference between what this bloke's doing and what we might do in that situation.
Exactly. I think they would do fine if they had a disclosure, at least so people knew.
I think so too. And I think part of this also may have something to do with the fact that, you know, you're flying from one country over the top, overflying or trying to overfly another country, the U.S., and then your destination is yet another country. So there were involving some, you know, some of these rules, complicated rules,
potentially customs and all of that.
So anyway, Pat and Brett, hopefully, or thanks for sending in that feedback and allowing us to talk about it. You know, I think it might be a good time for something we like to call Plane Tales. So let's see what the old pilot has in store for us today. Stand by. Where is it?
Go back up. Right there.
The Old Pilot's Plain Tales, Wooden Wonders and Aluminium Overcast, Part 2. This is the second part of a story about two aircraft which fought in the Second World War and which carried a very similar bomb load. However, one was machined from metal, bristled with defensive armament, and carried a crew of 10, whilst the other was made of wood and canvas, built by piano makers, and carried a crew of 2. Last week, we talked about the redoubtable B-17 Flying Fortress, its strength, firepower, and the bravery of its crews. Across the Atlantic in war-torn Britain, Geoffrey de Havilland was taking a rather different approach to designing a bomber. It was back in 1936 that the Air Ministry issued a specification for a bomber, and like Boeing's B-17 design, many aviation firms entered heavyweights with multiple defensive turrets. In stark contrast, George Volkert of Handley Page put forward the concept of a fast, unarmed bomber whose top speed would exceed that of the Spitfire. De Havilland agreed with Volkert, and with his experience of building innovative high-speed aircraft, such as the DH-88 Comet Racer, he pushed for the acceptance of a high-speed design. He settled on an aircraft that would be aerodynamically clean, modern, and powered by 2 Merlins, and would be faster than any foreseeable enemy fighter aircraft. Its speed meant that it could dispense with heavy armor and defensive armament, as well as simplifying production. Without a defensive capability, the crew would be kept down to a mere 2, the pilot and a navigator. At the time, it seemed such a foreign concept, a bomber with no guns. After all, this was the era of the Flying Fortress, of 4-engine aluminium overcasts carrying tons of machine guns, ammunition, ammo cans, and belts and complex turret units. Add in the weight of the gunners themselves, dressed in heavy heated gear, helmets, and flak jackets, sucking oxygen from tanks, and this could add up to 1/6 of a heavy bomber's empty weight. 3 extra tons in the case of the B-17, plus the drag of blisters and turrets, gun barrels poking into the slipstream, and wide-open waist windows. De Havilland's design seemed too radical for the ministry, but he found a supporter in Air Marshal Freeman, and although the AOC&C would not initially accept an unarmed bomber, a photo reconnaissance version was ordered. Was about to spring to life when the design team were denied the materials they needed and work on the prototype stopped. It wasn't until the end of the Battle of Britain that E-0234 rolled out. In trials, it easily outpaced a Spitfire, and when it was demonstrated to a group of dignitaries, US General Arnold recalled, "The first time I saw it, I was impressed by its performance. The Mosquito was, by the standards of the time, an extremely well-streamlined airplane, and it was highly regarded, highly respected." The Wooden Wonder, the Timber Terror, the Loping Lumber Yard was to become one of the most exciting, flexible, and well-known aircraft of its era. But why was it made out of wood? It wasn't just that spruce, birch plywood, and Ecuadorian balsa weren't strategic materials and were therefore in plentiful supply. Furniture factories, cabinet makers, luxury auto coach builders, and piano makers could quickly be turned into subcontractors. Also, wood, particularly when covered with a thin layer of doped fabric, made a remarkably smooth, low-drag surface, free of rivets and seams. Wood's chief advantage was that it was easy to work with and was a material that craftspeople had been shaping for millennia. Components were also made as composites, which made them both light and remarkably strong. The bomber version had a maximum speed of over 360 knots, a ceiling of 37,000 feet, and it carried a bomb load of 4,000 pounds. However, this was not the only version to be built. The Mosquito became a long-range photo-recce aircraft, both a day and night fighter, an anti-submarine hunter, a mine layer, a high-speed VIP transport and courier, a torpedo bomber, a trainer, and several special mission types were created. The Mosquito relied as much on altitude as pure speed, and if they were bounced from above, their saving grace lay in putting the nose down, maneuvering, and trusting that there were clouds to escape into. Fortunately, there were very few German fighters, one being the jet-powered Me-262, that could outrun them. Such was the level of annoyance that the Mosquito caused the German High Command. A bounty was put on the aircraft, and any fighter pilot who shot one down was allowed to claim 2 kills. The Mosquito wasn't a simple aircraft to fly. It was compared with a thoroughbred racehorse, which needed skilled handling. With its high powder-weight ratio and high wing loading, it was a handful for an inexperienced pilot. Its VMC speed, the speed it could be kept under control with rudder when on only one engine, was an eye-watering 170 knots or more. After takeoff, there would be a breath-stopping period whilst the aircraft accelerated, when an engine failure might mean death. As a consequence, the pilots chosen to fly them were picked because of their handling skills and experience. They became an elite group. The control forces of the Mozzie were light throughout the speed range, which made the chances of overstressing the airframe a distinct possibility. Coarse use of the elevators in a dive or when turning at high speed was forbidden, and heavy rudder use to achieve large yaw angles was also to be avoided. Landing was another area where careful handling was required. With flaps deployed, the aircraft became very tail-heavy, and it had a vicious power-on stall that would quickly develop into a spin. Eric Winkles Brown flew the original carrier landing attempts, and he knew that getting the aircraft slow enough to land on the deck, nearly 50 knots below its normal landing speed, would be a problem. If we got too low and slow on the approach, he said, it was going to be a fatality. Hitler was furious to see the Mozzie flying unopposed over Berlin, being fruitlessly chased by several Me-109s and Focke-Wulf 190s. And Hermann Goering wasn't exactly a fan either. He famously said, "It makes me furious when I see the Mosquito. I turn green and yellow with envy. The British, who can afford aluminium better than we can, knocked together a beautiful wooden aircraft that every piano factory over there is building. They have the geniuses, and we have the nincompoops." Berlin was a frequent Mosquito target, for the airplane had the range to reach it, and the heft to carry at first 4 500-pounders and later as much as a 2-ton blockbuster bomb, and to do it at 35,000 feet. One famous 3-plane Mosquito raid on Berlin in January 1943 was precisely timed to arrive just as Goering began an 11 a.m. radio address celebrating the Nazi Party's 10th anniversary. Sounds of confusion could be heard in the background, and the broadcast was rescheduled later in the day. At 4 o'clock that afternoon, more Mosquitoes arrived again to interrupt the speech, this time by Joseph Goebbels. Although the Mosquito flew thousands of routine bombing missions, it was also perfect for high-profile specialist raids, such as Operation Jericho, against the Amiens prison, which housed some 700 French resistance and political prisoners, 258 of which escaped after the walls were breached. The Oslo raid, the Aarhus raid, and Operation Carthage were made against the Gestapo headquarters of Oslo, Copenhagen, and Jutland, respectively. All these audacious attacks involved ultra-low-level precision bombing, for which the Mosquito was ideally suited. The Mozzie often flew raids carrying the 2-ton blockbuster bombs, and it was also modified to carry a pair of Barnes Wallis's famous bouncing bombs, called highballs, They were to be dropped against Tirpitz and were designed to bounce over the torpedo nets, hit the side of the battleship, and slide down its flanks to explode below the waterline. Before they could be deployed, the Lancasters dropping 6-ton tall boys and other of Barnes Wallis's inventions did the job. The speed of the Mosquito also made it an ideal fighter to use against the V-1 flying bomb, whose ram air pulse jet engine buzzed its way over the channel towards London by the thousand. During a 2-month period alone, the Mozzie accounted for 600 doodlebugs. The largest gun ever mounted on the Mosquito was the 12-foot-long Mullins 57mm rapid-fire cannon. The aircraft that received this modification were called the Tsetse, after the deadly African fly, and their speciality was sub-hunting in the Bay of Biscay. The bay was too shallow to allow the U-boats to submerge, so they had to dash across the surface. The Tsetse sank enough of them that they were forced to abandon daylight activities. The Tsetses also destroyed more than a few Luftwaffe aircraft, as the effect of a single 57mm projectile was devastating. In common with the B-17 crews that I mentioned, the Mosquito airmen pressed their attacks with no less bravery. One such pilot was Group Captain Leonard Cheshire, who flew many types, including the Mosquito, and was awarded the Victoria Cross. In his citations, several of his exploits were mentioned. This officer began his operational career in June 1940. Against strongly defended targets, he soon displayed the courage and determination of an exceptional leader. He was always ready to accept extra risks to ensure success. Over Cologne in 1940, a shell burst inside his aircraft, blowing out one side and starting a fire. Undeterred, he went on to bomb his target. At the end of his first tour of operational duty in January 1941, he immediately volunteered for a second. Again, he pressed home his attacks with the utmost gallantry. Berlin, Bremen, Cologne, Duisburg, Essen, and Kiel were among the heavily defended targets which he attacked. In October 1943, he undertook a fourth operational tour, relinquishing the rank of group captain at his own request so that he could again take part in operations. He immediately set to work as the pioneer of a new method of marking enemy targets involving very low flying. In June 1944, when marking a target in the harbor at Le Havre in broad daylight and without cloud cover, he dived well below the range of the light batteries before releasing his marker bombs, and he came very near to being destroyed by the strong barrage which concentrated on him. While developing the target marking techniques of the Pathfinder force, his citation went on to read that Munich was selected at Wing Commander Cheshire's request because of the formidable nature of its light anti-aircraft and searchlight defenses. As he reached the target, flares were being released by our high-flying aircraft. He was illuminated from above and below. All guns within range opened fire on him. Diving to 700 feet, he dropped his markers with great precision and began to climb away. So blinding were the searchlights that he almost lost control. He then flew over the city at 1,000 feet to assess the accuracy of his work and direct other aircraft. His own was badly hit by shell fragments, but he continued to fly over the target area until he was satisfied that he had done all in his power to ensure success. Eventually, when he set course for base, the task of disengaging himself from the defenses proved even more hazardous than the approach. For a full 12 minutes after leaving the target area, he was under withering fire, but he came through safely. In 4 years of fighting against the bitterest opposition, he has maintained a record of outstanding personal achievement, placing himself invariably in the forefront of the battle. What he did in the Munich operation was typical of the careful planning, brilliant execution, and contempt for danger, which has established for Wing Commander Cheshire a reputation second to none in bomber command. Cheshire's life is worthy of a plain tale all of its own, as his accomplishments went on well after the war, as did those of the Mosquito. Unlike the B-17, the Mozzie continued to be produced after the war ended, and it was not until 1950 that the RAF finally replaced it with the jet-powered English electric Canberra. Nearly 5,000 were produced by de Havilland's in the UK alone, but many more were made under license in Canada and Australia. Like the B-17, it was loved by those who learned to master it and who looked back on it with respect for its accomplishments. From May 1943 to May 1945, Mosquitoes took part in 26,936 sorties, for only 106 losses and 88 aircraft damaged beyond repair. The Mosquito ended the war with the lowest loss rate of any aircraft in RAF Bomber Command service.
Mosquito, what a great machine.
I just like to say mosquito. It's a fun word.
I like to slap him myself.
So, what an amazing airplane. And it was interesting to hear the advantages of construction over, the steel, or not steel, but metallic.
Yeah, I think an aircraft at that time that could outrun almost any fighter that had been currently built was a brilliant, it was a masterstroke, really. It was, I won't say it was untouchable, but the loss rates just speak for themselves. Well over 3,000 B-17s lost, each carrying 10 crew members, and a mere 108 Mosquitoes lost, only carrying 2 crew members. The stats just speak for themselves.
I saw a great video. I guess it's on YouTube somewhere, where they were restored Mosquito and they were flying it around, and I was just amazed at the controls, how they'd move the control yoke over to the right, and then the airplane would go okay, and then start. I mean, I get probably the same kind of reaction that many of these airplanes, probably the B-17 as well, where they're just big,
just
lumbering,
a little sluggish on the controls,
just a little bit. And this thing was actually doing kind of some low-level flying as well. And I'm thinking, you have to really think ahead on that kind of airplane when you're down low to the ground. I'll see if I can dig up that video that I was looking at. It was quite some time ago, but
the bomber version had a yoke. The fighter version, they insisted on giving it a central stick.
Mm-hmm.
But it filled a lot of roles as well. Tony's just asked in the chat room, did it do daylight raids? Yes, a lot of its raids were daylight, and a lot of its raids were in very dangerous situations. The Pathfinders, who went ahead of the major night bomb raids, were over the target, marking the target with special luminous flares and incendiaries, so that the main bomber force could clearly identify where they were supposed to be putting their bombs, and the Pathfinders would stay over the target, talking to the master bombers in the main force, telling them where their bombs are going, whether they're going short, whether they're going long, which flares, and they would often have to go in and remark the targets. And they were doing this at low level. So they were in the thick of it. And they're still, because of their speed and agility, their loss rate was incredibly low.
Awesome. And other interesting tidbit from your wonderful plane tales there, Captain Jeff learned about his namesake, Jeffrey de Havilland.
Yeah, de Havilland. I didn't know the guy's name was Jeffrey. What a great name.
But with a G, I believe.
I knew he was gonna.
Yeah.
Let's see.
There you go. No, I'm sorry, Jeff. That's terrible.
Here we go. That's a more appropriate. You should be running the soundboard stuff.
There you go. HR's got a new job.
You may regret that after.
Oh, wait a minute. Well, it is between the both of us, so she has easy access to it, like this one.
I'm sure I would never use that sound effect
No, we would never
for
do that.
anything that.
You never flush, Steph? That's a bit of an admission.
Just to
Not
refer to
sanitary at
anything
all.
that you want to talk about.
Didn't your
That's all.
parents teach you anything?
Sorry, Dan.
Saves water.
That's right.
It does. Yeah, it's going green, actually.
What? Did you say
We're going green.
going green?
We're
I did.
going green.
That was Steph, by the way.
this
We're
one.
gonna take care of the earth. We're going green.
All right. You got to love this song. I do.
It's the best.
We're going green. Steph's going green.
We're gonna take
She's not flushing. She's going green.
Actually, there's a bit of a discussion in the chat room about the raids that the Mozzies did on the French prison and the various Gestapo headquarters, where they often ran down at street level to deliver their bombs with precision. In the raid they did on the prison, they had to impact on the perimeter wall and also hit the sort of rooms or the buildings where the guards were all having their lunch. They timed it so all the guards would be in there having their lunch. And then they also had to hit the building to create an escape hole, hopefully without killing too many of the prisoners. Obviously, quite a few died, but there was a significant number who escaped. But in my investigations, I also found out about a Beaufighter, which was a kind of similar looking airplane, the Beaufighter, another twin-engined light bomber. And the Beaufighter, one bloke went on a special mission, and he flew down the Champs-Élysées in Paris with a special huge tricolor, which was weighted in the corners, and they dispatched it through a tube in the bottom that they normally drop flares through as they passed over the Arc de Triomphe, and draped the Arc de Triomphe with this huge French tricolor. And then they proceeded to continue down, strafing the Sunday morning, I think it was a Sunday morning, parades that the German troops held in the middle of the street there. And all havoc, shooting German soldiers coming in literally below the level of the second-story windows. People were looking down on them. This was purely done as a morale boost for the French, the Parisians, who were obviously under occupation at the time. And I would love to have seen that with this tricolor coming flying out of the sky and this lone Beaufighter, strafing down on the German soldiers in the middle of this huge avenue. It would have been fabulous.
Yeah, that would have been. We were talking about, was it the last show or the one before? Somebody had asked us what our most scariest experience was on an airplane.
Yeah, it was recent.
Yeah, very recent. And we received a little bit of audio feedback from someone relating to their most scary story.
This is Miami Hick. I was listening to last week's podcast and I heard everybody talk about their scary stories on planes. So I thought I'd chime in and let everybody know my scary story. It was actually on an MD-88 and we weren't even in the air. We were still on the ground when I heard the most terrifying sound I've ever heard.
Hello, everyone, and welcome aboard. My name is Captain Jeff.
And that was scary enough right in itself. But we'll come across the sound I heard next. It is the stuff of nightmares. It makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. And it is something that I will never forget. It will live in my nightmares for as long as I live.
And assisting me today is First Officer Dana.
That's right. Got a double whammy. Captain Jeff and First Officer Dana all on the same flight. I was terrified. I hit the emergency slide. I ran across the tarmac like a little girl screaming. And that is something that I will never forget. And hope nobody else ever has to experience that like I did. So I'm still in therapy. Hopefully we'll get over it after a couple more years of daily sessions. So Just want to let everybody know my scary experience on the tarmac there. Miami Hick, over and out.
My scariest experience was seeing some dude running on the tarmac, screaming like a little girl.
After deploying the slide?
Yeah. And I think he had a beer in his hand as well. Grabbed a beer on the way out.
One for the road.
Yeah. Isn't that what the guy did for JetBlue before he blew the slide and left? I think he grabbed a beer.
Why did you and Dana used to work for JetBlue as well?
Well, we don't want to really talk about our past and the real airlines that we've worked with.
Oh, sorry, Jeff.
Just to protect them.
They're protecting the innocent, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Miami Hick, for that, I think.
Yes.
So, he said, we were at the baseball game and he said, hey, I need to borrow your voice for something. And so he told me, what to say. Didn't realize he was going to be so mean.
Use it against you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Oh.
Well done.
Well done. Yes, indeed. All right. Let's see. Ray, my neighbor to the north in Alpharetta, sent in a piece of audio feedback. We were talking about, I think, episode 275, visual illusions. And this was an interesting story that Ray tells us about. So without further ado, take it away, Ray.
Hi, Captain Jeff. This is Ray Williams from Alpharetta. I've just finished listening to episode 275, during which Glenn, the Kiwi, had brought up the question of whether any of you guys had been affected or impacted by any illusions during your flying. And listening to the conversations brought to mind a pretty interesting crash some time ago. In fact, I thought Dana was going to go there, but he went in a different direction. And this was a crash on December the 4th, 1965. Wow, on that day I was probably in the middle of my matric exams. Anyway, it was an Eastern Airlines L1049 Constellation, flight 853, and a TWA 707, flight 42. The TWA had left San Francisco early in the morning on a flight to JFK. The Eastern Connie was one of their normal shuttles from Boston to Newark. Connie was at its flight plan direct southwest from Boston to the Carmel Vortex at an altitude of 10,000 feet. Also approaching the Carmel Vortex was the TWA 707. It was flying at 11,000 feet and was on autopilot with altitude hold mode engaged. From the perspective of the Eastern Airlines Connie, they had just come out of a little cauliflower tuft of cloud that rose about 300 feet above the normal cloud level. And as they did so, the co-pilot, looking out of his right window, saw the 707 coming. He yelled, "Look out," grabbed the yoke, and hauled the Constellation up into a climb. On the flight deck of the 707, the captain looked through his window and saw the blue and white Constellation roughly at his 10 o'clock. Immediately, he disconnected the autopilot and threw the 707 into a hard right climbing turn. In spite of his efforts, he saw that the collision with the Constellation was going to be inevitable. The 707, with its left wing high, sliced into the tailplane of the Constellation, round about the right fin and rudder, slicing that off and also taking a huge chunk out of the rear fuselage, taking with it the hydraulic system and all the control cables to the elevators and rudders. And from that moment on, there began two really heroic feats of airmanship. TWA 42 contacted New York ARTCC, declared a mayday, and told them that their left wingtip was missing. New York issued them vectors and got them down to JFK, and they landed more or less without incident. However, things were very different on the Eastern Connie. With the hydraulics gone, they started to climb for a while, then they started to dive, and the captain was pretty much unable to control the aircraft. The flight engineer issued a mayday, told control that they had had a collision and they were out of control. And his conversation kind of must have been very confusing because he said, we're in a dive now, we're climbing now, we're descending, we're at 7,000 feet. And in a similar fashion to the DC-10 many years later at Sioux City, Captain White could control the Connie only through the throttles and taking power on and off the engines. When the aircraft was starting to dive, he could put some power on and lift the nose, and vice versa to bring the nose down. And they passed over Danbury Airport, but they were too high to get into that. And they soon became apparent that they were going to have to crash land somewhere. With the loss of the right-hand fin and rudder, the Constellation tended to circle to the left, so the captain had to apply more power on the left-hand engines to straighten it out. And they had a lake on one side, they had kind of a hill in front of them, and they knew they weren't going to get to an airport. They saw an open field, and they started to head for that. The problem was that this field sloped upwards. So in addition to having little control over the aircraft, they were going to have to do a crash landing onto an uphill surface. To further complicate matters, there was a couple of barns and a concrete silo in this field. So in addition to landing the crippled aircraft, the captain had to fly the plane between these buildings and then get onto the ground. And of course, with no controls, he had at the very last minute to put on full power to lift the nose up so that the plane didn't go straight into the side of the hill. As the plane touched down, the left wing smashed into a tree stump and was torn off, and the plane hit a gully and bounced and skidded up the hill. As the left wing tore off, the fuel took fire. There was a huge ball of yellow flame that shot into the air, and the damaged aircraft slid up the hill. 4 engines came off, and the remaining parts of the tail came off. The stub of the left wing dug into the ground and caused the plane to somersault to the left a bit, and the fuselage under that strain cracked into 3 pieces. And in that fashion, it slid up about 700 feet up the hill and came to a stop with the front and the rear ends roughly going back down the slope. Amazingly, most of the passengers survived this, and with some help from the cabin crew, most of them managed to get out. But amongst the passengers that didn't was a soldier, a Private Dennis Flucker, and his seatbelt jammed while his colleagues tried to help him unfasten it. They couldn't. And finally, the heat of the flames caused them to have to leave, and he was left in the aircraft. The co-pilot and the flight engineer both survived. They exited through the captain's window. No one can say exactly what happened to the captain. Later on, his body was found back in the fuselage. It appears that he had succeeded in releasing the seatbelt of Private Flucker, but at that stage, oxygen cylinders had started to explode, and the fire was very bad, and both of them succumbed to the heat and the fumes. And so let me get back to why I'm telling you about this accident. Both aircraft were flying at their assigned altitudes. There was 1,000 feet between their 2 altitudes. However, the cloud, which was unbroken, sloped upwards from the south towards the north. And so in the brief moments during which the flight crew of each aircraft had an opportunity to see the other, it appeared that the other aircraft was at the same height above the clouds as they were. And thus they assumed it was at the same altitude, and they took understandable but incorrect evasive maneuvers, and they collided. Had they had more time to assess the situation, they might have come to the realization that they were going to miss. Had either of them taken different evasive action, the collision could have been avoided. But as it was, they did what they thought was correct with the incorrect visual evidence behind them. So that was that story. And yeah, and I can see how easily this happens. You know, it comes down to almost like, you know, the cartoon Double Take. you do that second look because your first look gave you some sort of improbable image, and you do the double take to check it out and probably come to your senses. I can remember many years ago, I was in a Pan Am 747 at Kai Tak in Hong Kong. We were taxiing out, and I happened to turn, look out the window, and I thought, there's a VC-10 out there. And then I saw the big red flag with the hammer and sickle on the tail, and I realized it was just an illusion. Talk to you later, guys. Hope there's going to be a meetup sometime in the Atlanta area soon. Take care, folks. Fly safely. Cheers.
Oh, I get it. It was just an illusion. Nice one, Ray.
Very good.
he actually included a snapshot of the illusion, your choice. Hey, Ray, we did have a meetup in Atlanta just last weekend, but I guess you were busy or something, didn't know about it, but had a great time at the game and hope to have another meetup in Atlanta sometime soon. And it'll be good to see you. Thanks again, as always, for your great feedback. But what a story.
Yeah, great story. Really interesting.
Yeah, what a brave guy the captain was to have gone back and tried to release that last stuck passenger.
Mm-hmm.
Steph and I were talking about how the fact that this Electra crashed and there were only 2 or 3 deaths, I think, total, including the captain. And it's just amazing to me that not everybody just died on that thing. It's pretty amazing flying skills.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Let's continue. More audio feedback. We love the audio feedback. This is from Tom Seagraves. I believe that Captain Nick, you've met up with Tom in the Kansas City area, right?
Oh, yes.
All right. Just heard your discussion on Mad Dog Captain upgrades, and it made me curious about a couple of things. So here you go. So let's take a listen to Tom.
Hello, APG crew. This is Tom from Columbia, Missouri. I was just driving down the road listening to episode 277. You guys were having your conversation about the 6-month first officer getting promoted to captain. And I really enjoyed everyone's take on that. My question, I have a couple of questions about that. So I spent several years in retail management where I was running multi-million-dollar stores for a big company. And one of the things that I had to do a lot was promote managers, train them, get them sent off to other locations. Or for several years, I would go into a location that was in trouble and fix it. I'd be there anywhere from 9 months to 18 months. I would fix it. And a big part of that was promoting people into management. And, we had several things that we looked for when we did that. So I guess my question is, that's the perspective I have on someone getting promoted. When Acme looks at promoting a first officer into captain, I know based on listening to you guys for years and years, I know seniority is everything. But is that the only thing when it comes to that? So if anyone, with enough seniority gets promoted or asked for a promotion, is it going to happen? Or does the chief pilot or other people in the chain of command, do they look at these people and say, well, he was a captain at this other regional for a long time, or he's been a first officer for this many years and he's got, good performance reviews. Or is it, would someone say, well, he's only been here 6 months and while his seniority's there, there's no track record. He wasn't in leadership anywhere else. And there's no track record for this guy being in leadership. So, we're not going to promote him. We're going to let him have some mileage as a first officer. And the second question I have is really for First Officer Dana. Dana, you've been sitting in that right seat for a long time, and I don't recall how many years you've been there for Acme, but you've been sitting in that right seat for quite a while. How does it make you feel, when you hear about a guy that's been there 6 months getting a promotion, the same promotion that you just got after the years you've been there? what does that do to your morale? Maybe nothing, but it's just one of the thoughts I had when I heard about all that. So anyway, thanks again, guys, for everything. I really enjoy the podcast, and I look forward to your answer on all of that. Talk to you soon.
Well, Dana has left the show, but I think Steph and I were talking. We could probably answer for Dana.
He really is happy for them, and yeah, well,
very, very happy.
Very happy, very enthusiastic, ecstatic
for the opportunities that they have.
Yes, it wishes them nothing but the best.
Right, Dana? Maybe he's listening to this after the fact.
Read in whatever sarcasm in that statement you would like.
So, Tom, you make several good points, and I think that there are probably other airlines out there that have policies, in effect, that cover this kind of a situation. But I think that at Acme, they didn't have these policies set up because it's absolutely unheard of that somebody could get hired by an airline and not even while they were still on probation and not even with the airline for a year, if they have the seniority to do so, and in this case, this is what's happening, they have the ability to upgrade to captain right away. And I think that it just caught the airline flat-footed, to be honest with you. And it was like, oh, we never thought that this would ever happen. So we never considered even coming up with a policy. And of course, the way it works is that they work with our representatives, the union representative, the Airline Pilots Association, to come up with because everything is based on the contract. So if the company had a policy, you got to be with the company for X number of years and have this kind of experience and this many hours and that kind of thing. That would be something that would be worked out and negotiated with the union. I'm pretty sure that's the way it works. But I don't know. Do you have any kind of a policy like that, Captain Nick, in place with Acme Red, or is it again one of those things? Well, that's never going to happen, so we're not even going to work out a policy. You're still muted.
Sorry, old chap. I was just going to say the company has had to... Why is Steph giggling?
Well, you have birds flying around your head.
I was giggling not because of the birds flying around your head, but because my thought was the reason he's still muted is because he's been playing around with his camera and not paying attention to the other settings that are necessary for an audio podcast.
I'm actually busy trying to fix Dana's computer with the suggestion that maybe Micah has.
I'll send him that link. You don't worry about it. I got it.
Okay, you got it. Okay, right. Back to the discussion in hand.
We're doing a show.
Yeah, the company's had to think on its feet because it's come across things that are not in the contract. For example, first time we had redundancies, it wasn't specifically written in the contract that it was last in, first out. And there was a great deal of discussion as to whether they were going to get rid of a fleet and all their pilots or just the new joiners. And in fact, as it turned out, we paid effectively to have that put into the company contract, and it turned out to be last in, first out, which is what most airlines run. But the company just didn't want to do that. So you have to remember that not everything is ever going to be there. But we run on my outfit, we run a strictly seniority-based promotion. So you get offered a promotion when your seniority number comes up, and that's really it. My father always said, grab the first promotion offer you ever get. He said, just in case something happens, you never get another one. And in fact, I didn't do that because I was offered a promotion onto an A320 because we used to have some way back. And I knew that 340 promotions were only going to be just behind, and I kept my fingers crossed, and it worked for me because only a few months later, I got a command course on the 340. But so my feeling is you should always grab a promotion as soon as you can and get your foot in the door. But there you go. And I don't understand how a company can bring in people and promote them ahead of you unless there's something written in the contract that allows them to do that.
Well, I guess in this case, it's a situation of you have to ask for it. In the first case, you have to bid for it. So if you don't bid for it, you're not going to get it.
Right.
It's not like someone's. It's not in other professions or fields where you may be approached for a promotion. Although I don't know, maybe at some airlines you would be. But so first of all, you have to ask for it. So if you don't, then you have no one to blame but yourself in that regard. But you guys always talk about, or at least I've heard it talked about in the past, where airlines are really hiring future captains. So if they think you have that potential, then maybe the timeline isn't as important.
Right.
In some cases.
And maybe it's not so much of a shock for the management of the company as it is for those of us who have been flying the line forever, and the way it has always been for decades. And now all of a sudden we're in this new world where things are happening so quickly that it's just tough for us to, it's one thing to go, okay, I understand. Yes, the company is hiring pilots, not to be first officers, but to be captains, and to actually live through the practicality of that. It's just it's kind of it's a different thing. It's hard. Change is always. Yeah,
it's hard to swallow, definitely.
But rest assured though, you mentioned it, it's hard to believe that you don't have any like other, safe, or what do they call, stop gaps or safeguards. Thank you. In place for, what if this person just isn't the right person to be a captain? And of course, we hope that before somebody bids for this, they do a self-assessment and go, you know what, I'm just not ready. I mean, honestly, I would not have done it if I were in this world right now. I was even kind of staying on the engineer panel for longer than I needed to, because I thought, I just want to take this whole thing slowly. I want to learn this system. I'm in no hurry to expose myself to any risk and everything else. I just want to stay where I am. It's kind of comfortable. I'm understanding my job and my role. And now I'm ready for moving up to first officer. And I want to do this for a while, because when you're a first officer on a 3-pilot crew, it's like basically being retired, honestly. It
sounds like the nicest job to have.
It is like the best job out there. I mean, I'd still do it if I could, as long as it paid as much as I'm getting paid now as a captain. But it's just awesome. But so I was flying with a guy a couple of trips ago, and he works with the new hires. He's one of the new hire mentor coordinators. And we were talking about this, and he said, look, we've been having many, many discussions about this. And so if somebody bids for a captain and they're in training and it's just clear that they are not going to be able to do what is necessary to be a captain. And I know, it's hard to, in a simulator environment, to understand judgment and that kind of thing. And that's like one of those real world things where you really don't know, but you can kind of get an inkling with somebody.
I'm sure you can get a sense.
And he said, they're not going to, there are going to be things that they can do to keep somebody from actually getting out there and becoming a captain if that person really can't do it. And honestly, as well, I should say that I've flown with many. In fact, my last 3-day trip, and this trip, again, flying with a brand new guy. This guy's only been with us for a couple of months. And the guy that I just flew the trip with, and the guy that I'm flying with right now, I mean, they are flying the airplane extremely well, very smoothly. You can tell that they are concerned about what the passenger is experiencing in the back and everything else. And I'm very, very, I have to say, pleasantly surprised at the caliber of the people that my company is hiring at an amazing clip that we've never seen before. And the 2 people that I've flown with who actually have captain's bids were like super sharp. And so I'm not really concerned about the future of our company, regarding this whole rapid thing. And one of the reasons why these people are getting these captain slots on my airplane is because, well, this airplane has been earmarked for retirement, and it's a done deal. They say it's going to be gone in 3 years or whatever. And people don't want to, when you're new with a company, you don't want to get on an airplane that's going to be gone.
Right. So the amount of people trying to go this route are potentially smaller,
Yeah.
or voluntarily.
And they're going. So many of a lot of these guys are saying their peers are going, "Why did you bid the Mad Dog? I mean, come on, what's wrong with you?" And these people say, "Well, I see some opportunities here," and they're smart.
And perhaps it makes sense for them for their current situation, for the base that they live in, for where they want to seniority for commuting, for trips they want to bid. So it may make a lot of sense for their particular situation at that particular time. So, there's a lot of things that go into it. It's not just
right.
This is the airplane I want to fly in.
But the majority of their peers are going, well, I'm going to something that's going to be the future.
Right.
And at Acme, it looks like the future is Airbus. I'm sorry, I accidentally hit that sound. Steph, why did you push that button?
I would never.
Surely there should be a
Slander.
bit of cheering there somewhere in the background.
I'm sorry. That's the one I meant to push.
Oh, yes.
Strangely, we can't find it right now. I'm looking.
Lots of Frenchmen going, oh, that's wonderful. That's German.
Oui, oui. Oui, oui.
This is the Airbus Tweety birds flying over its head.
Come down.
All right. So there. That's what we have to say about that. And unfortunately, Dana was not here to express his elation.
Now you've got another upgrade / airplane related
Do I? Where?
piece of feedback farther down from Brad.
Brad. Well, then I think that this might be a good time to play his feedback.
Sure.
All right.
Hi, APG crew. Brad from North Dakota calling to leave some audio feedback. I've been a long-time listener to the show back from when it first began, in the days when Captain Jeff had the time to actually answer all his feedback and even send people personal emails. So I was lucky to receive a few of those over the years. A couple of questions. The first one is for Captain Jeff and First Officer, soon to be Captain Dana. I was just wondering what your thoughts are about possibly wanting to fly the Bombardier C series at some point in the future. My understanding is that Acme Airlines has ordered quite a large number of these, and just reading different reports, including some pilot reports, it looks like it's a pretty nicely designed airliner, and it looks like it would be a lot of fun to fly that. I guess the size range is it's sort of the size of a 717, maybe up to the size of a MD-88 or MD-90, depending upon which one they decide to order. And it'll probably fly a lot of the same sort of missions that the current Mad Dog fleet flies. So I was just wondering, in terms of lifestyle, et cetera, if either of you guys would consider switching over to that when it comes online, given the fact that it allows you to essentially do a lot of the same kind of flying that you're doing right now, while also flying what is, if not the most advanced airliner in the sky, pretty close. Just wondering about that. My other question was for Captain Nick, and involves the use of sticks, and we're talking side sticks here, not any other type of stick, just to clarify that point. I was just wondering what Captain Nick, as a longtime Airbus pilot, thinks about the value of adding an active as opposed to a passive side stick control to the fly-by-wire aircraft that use side sticks. My understanding is that some of the newer business jets, like I think either the Gulfstream 650 or possibly the 550, actually have an active side stick where the two are linked and provide some sort of tactile feedback so that the person in the left seat can tell what the person in the right seat is doing with the stick. And how valuable that would be in terms of maintaining situational awareness as to what the airplane is doing and controlling it in difficult circumstances, similar to the Air France 447 type of scenario or anything else like that. And the only other question I wanted to ask is if Miami Rick is ever coming back or not. We certainly enjoy having the current crew a lot, but he is missed. Anyway, thank you very much. Hopefully you get a chance to answer some of this feedback. And again, thank you guys for all the effort you go into in terms of putting the show on. It is awesome, and there's really not a lot more to say. Thanks again, and have a great day.
Thanks, Brad. Has anybody ever said to you, Brad, that you sound a lot like Max Trescott?
I know, it was very strange listening to him because I was thinking,
I thought it was more like Max Headroom.
Or Max Headroom. As we watch Captain Nick on the video with things flying around his head. It was birds at first. What do you have on you now?
I think.
I'm in love.
Oh, are you?
It's Airbus love.
No, we'll stop watching you then.
So what's interesting is that Brad used the, and I don't really even mention this way that you can send feedback in anymore. It's the Airline Pilot Guy feedback hotline. which is area code 30499 pilot. Did I get that right? I think that's right.
It's been so long since you mentioned it that I've forgotten that number.
Yeah, Brad used that. And one of the cool things, it's a Google Voice number. The cool thing is that Google will actually do a transcription, and it's sometimes very humorous. So that's what we have here in our show notes, and it's pretty interesting to see the way it analyzed what he was saying and putting it to writing, and it doesn't quite get it exactly right.
And Liz, that's what we were laughing about. So we can't repeat any of it. I'm sorry.
Right. It was more like the Ron Jeremy podcast, not our podcast. Anyway,
show.
Yeah. So let's see. What was the first thing? He asked many things.
C-Series.
C-Series. Oh, yeah. The C-Series. I agree with you, Brad. It looks like an awesome airplane. And I am and you also talked about the active side stick, or the Inceptor, I think they call that technology. I think that I understand why Bombardier didn't include that as a standard feature, or any. I don't know if that's an option or a standard, but they didn't include that in their C-Series jet because I think it's very expensive. And when you're just coming out with a new airplane to begin with, I guess you want to try to keep the cost as low as you can so you can be competitive out there. Apparently that's why they came to that decision. But anyway, getting back to the C-Series, jumping on that airplane. I mean, I'm looking at everything I've read about it. It looks like a real pilot's airplane, and I really, honestly, love to fly. I've never flown a new airplane ever in my life. The airplanes that I've flown throughout my entire career were already old, tried, trusted, true airplanes, and never a brand new one. I'm not even sure I understand what it means, the new airplane smell. I know what a new car smell is, but never had the
new airplane
experience of a new airplane smell unless I'm riding as a passenger.
Similar?
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
But so yeah, the Canadians are making an amazing airplane. Unfortunately, and you kind of hinted at this in your feedback, if this is going to be introduced to the Atlanta base where I live, and the pay rate on it would be very similar to what the pay rate is that I'm getting now, and I would have the seniority that I currently enjoy on this airplane, then I'd go, oh heck yeah, I'd do that in a minute or less. But unfortunately, it's not going to be based in Atlanta right off the bat. From what we hear, it's going to be on the West Coast somewhere. It's not going to pay. The pay rate is going to be lower than the pay rate that I'm getting right now, and my seniority probably wouldn't be the same. I'm not sure about that aspect of it, but so those are all real world practical, quality of life things that, as much as I'd love to fly this new whiz-bang airplane, I'm not going to sacrifice the other things that I just talked about to do that. So that would be my answer regarding that. Let's see, what else did he say? Oh, you want to talk about the side stick controller? I think he was talking to Nick about that.
I thought it was the beef stick.
The beef stick, yeah. Well, now you're reading Google Voice Trends.
Please stop there, actually, because.
Oh, does it get worse?
Yeah.
Yeah. It talks about what he's doing with this.
Well, not with the beef stick.
Not the beef stick either. Okay. Something about a race and part of a male anatomy.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Google Voice doesn't always get it quite right.
It was close.
Yeah, close.
Very close.
But you fly an airplane fly-by-wire that has the side stick controller, Nick. Do you think that there's any advantage to having that Inceptor kind of a thing where you actually have active feedback in a side stick controller?
Well, if it's active feedback in that you get a reaction like a vibration in the same way that a computer game, often the controls there have active feedback. It's just a sort of tactile sense that something's occurring and the computer wants to warn you about. I can see that having a place, but I would much rather they spent their money giving me a fully functioning dual control system so that when my fellow pilot moved his stick, my stick moved in exactly the same way, so that I could see what he's doing with the side stick, and could follow him through to see what inputs he's putting in, and also to see whether what the aircraft is doing is environmental or whether it's being controlled by the other pilot. So I'd have some sense of what's going on. I've said this in the past. For me, it's not a big factor with my company because we've got some very experienced first officers. I think in the future, perhaps with the introduction of lower hours or the cadet system that's coming in, I think I would probably feel more comfortable if I could see exactly what was going on the other side of the cockpit. By being able to observe my stick or feel my stick and work out what inputs are being put in. The one thing that happens if you do move your stick to try and correct a situation that's occurring is that, of course, you can end up in the situation where both pilots are trying to move their sticks, and the aircraft interprets that as being either double the movement or no movement at all, because it sums the two levels of movements that's going in, which is not really ideal. The only way that really one pilot should just take control is to press his override button and just fly the airplane himself. So I would much prefer there to be a fully reactive side stick so that they both move together. That for me would be a much safer situation.
I think it's my understanding that new made by Goodrich, the Inceptor kind of tactile feedback side stick controller does do that. It's actually, you will see when you're moving it, it'll actually move the other one. So I think that is one of the features of it. And if that's the case, I think that all of us would be for that kind of a
yeah, I mean,
controller.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit disappointed that the aircraft didn't come in with that. I mean, for years, we've all had this system of being able to monitor what the other pilot's doing by following through on the controls, whether you're teaching someone or whether they're an experienced pilot, doesn't really matter. The fact is that it's a comfort level, so that you know that the guy's handling the airplane correctly. And the first officer does it to the captain as well. I mean, we all rest our hands on the stick, even if we're not flying the airplane, just in case the other guy has a problem and you need to take control at short notice. So whenever we're close to the ground, we do that. But it would be so nice to be able to just feel what the other guy is actually physically doing with the stick.
I think just following along on the controls would be adequate for explaining.
Yeah, Ivor is saying there's a lot of stick action going on here.
Yeah, oh, well, there you go.
Oh, he said no sniggering. Oh, well, too late. Some great questions, Brad, regarding the active sides.
I like the question about the value of battling active as opposed to passive sides to control the Wi-Fi. So I think that was a great part of the question.
Yes, and as far as Miami Hick, yes, we're hopeful that he's going to be back with us in the future. So we miss him too.
Miami Hick?
Miami Wreck. Did I just say Miami Hick?
You did, I think.
Well, we missed Miami Hick too, although we actually heard from him. You know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's see. Moving on. Oh, the F-16, the Thunderbirds incident that we were talking about recently. The Georg from Switzerland. Thank you for putting the phonetic pronunciation for me there.
Georg?
Oh, I'm sorry. I still messed it up. Georg. Dear APG crew, in 278, you mentioned the long time it took to remove the crew from an F-16 after an accident at the civilian airport. This is most likely due to the single-engine fighter having an emergency power unit that runs on hydrazine, which is like a rocket fuel, to keep the jet controllable in an engine failure. Hydrazine is a very dangerous chemical that is not present in other aircraft. I doubt that the civilian rescue teams are trained and equipped to deal with a hydrazine leak. Most likely they had to fly in an Air Force team to make sure that it is safe to approach the plane and rescue the crew. So you know what? I'm sure that you're right about that. In fact, I remember once I was at Hill Air Force Base in Utah in the 141, and we were carrying one of these big ICBM kind of missile things in the back, boosters or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what it was, an Atlas maybe. And we were on a kind of a remote pad because it was kind of a special thing that we were doing. And we were watching these F-16s kind of getting ready. I don't know what you call that when they stop short of the end of the runway, and then their crews out there making sure that all the
I think we used to call them the last chance checks.
Okay, that's what they were doing, and apparently
just safing up the or arming up the missiles or whatever the tank.
Okay, yeah, whatever they were doing. I've never flown a fighter, so I'm not sure exactly what they were doing out there. But all of a sudden, kind of in our peripheral vision, we see like this F-16 pilot like running like away from his airplane, and we're looking over like, what in the heck are we witnessing here? And we're all looking at each other like, this is not good. He's running away, and we're like really close to this F-16
like with purpose.
Yeah, I mean he is like he is running for his life, literally. And it turns out that there was some kind of a hydrazine leak. I guess they used that for some kind of a power unit. Emergency power unit or something on the airplane.
No idea.
And we were going to look at each other like, should we be out there running away too?
Like this is one of the things where you see that guy running, everyone should follow him.
Yeah. But we didn't, and luckily I'm still here today, so I guess everything worked out well. Okay.
Yeah, but you used to have dark hair.
Yeah, maybe that's the hydrazine.
That's it.
Let's see, just quickly going through here. We're getting close to the end. Alexis sent in some feedback. His name is Alexis David Fafard, or Fafard. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but he is a policy advisor for a Canadian senator and a flight student at Ottawa Aviation Services. This is the first time he's contacted me, and he said, I must admit that I do have,
APG syndrome?
Yeah.
Got another one.
Yeah. Bad case. APG syndrome. APG syndrome.
So contagious.
It is. APG syndrome. We're sorry to hear that, Alexis. Oh no, another one went down. Anyway, where did this go? How did I end up getting switched over to the screen? I must have accidentally hit something. Here we go. I'm sending you this note to respond to Joyal, the young fellow willing to do his flight training in Canada. There is an excellent flight school based in the capital of Canada called Ottawa Aviation Services. The flight school is located next to Route 22 or R22 and R14 at Charlie Yankee Oscar Whiskey.
Is that the runways, or is that the...
Maybe that's the runway. Okay, runway 22 and runway 14. I don't know. I strongly suggest Joyal and any people willing to take the airline path in Canada to contact OAS, Ottawa Aviation Services, to get some information about their IATP program. At OAS, we provide a rigorous, well-known IATP program fully accredited by Transport Canada. We also have agreements with other air carriers such as Porter Airlines and Air Georgian for our successful candidates. Also wanted to take the opportunity to share some news. I'm starting to freelance and write articles on policy legal issues in Canadian aviation. A European aviation news website, aerotime.aero, I visit their site actually quite often, has started to publish my articles. And so he put a link there to one of his recent articles on aerotime.aero. While my website is not officially done and under construction, you can see my contents, comments, articles, that kind of thing. So we'll put that in the show notes as well. And he said, this is an absolute pleasure to finally enter in communication with you. Thank you. And again, that's from Alexis. And you are welcome. And thank you for that advice for Joyal and any others looking to do their flight training in Canada.
Yep. I know he's trying to get the word out about his website, and I've been there and looked at it. Good content, especially about some of the policy, legal, aviation stuff, and kind of specific to Canada. So,
yep.
There you go.
Excellent. And, Tanya is a new member of our community, and I had the opportunity, as well as Nick had the opportunity as well, to meet with Tanya when we had that New York layover. And she actually sent us some feedback, and I want to make sure we get her feedback played on today's show. So, Tanya, here you go.
Hello, APG crew. This is Tanya in New York City with my first audio feedback. Captain Dana's scariest moment when he spoke about almost flying into power lines brought to mind the circumstances of Bill Graham's death. As one rolls as a famous music promoter, he would be flown in a helicopter to and from shows to avoid the California traffic. Reading from Wikipedia, Graham was killed in a helicopter crash west of Vallejo, California on October 25, 1991, while returning home from a Huey Lewis and the News concert at the Concord Pavilion. Graham had attended the event to discuss promoting a benefit concert for the victims of the 1991 Oakland Hills firestorm. Once he had obtained the commitment from Huey Lewis to perform, he returned to his helicopter. Flying in severe weather, with rain and gusty winds, the aircraft flew off course and too low over the tidal marshland north of San Pablo Bay. The Bell Jet Ranger flew directly into a 223-foot, 68-meter high-voltage tower near where Highway 31, which runs between Vallejo, California, and Marin County, California, crosses Sonoma Creek. The helicopter burst into flames on impact, killing Graham, pilot and advance man Steve Killer Khan, and Graham's girlfriend Melissa Gold, ex-wife of author Herbert Gold. The charred remains of the helicopter hung eerily in the tower for more than a day. And I've read Bill Graham's biography recently, and the saddest part of all this is that they had discussed leaving the helicopter in the parking lot and taking ground transportation back, but sadly decided against it. So a very sad story, and I'm just so glad that Captain Dana got through his ordeal safely. So I don't end on such a depressing note. I have to say I really enjoyed Scottish Stu's audio feedback. I could listen to him talk all day, and I understood what he was saying very well. The best accent this side of Captain Nick. So cheers, everyone. And I'm very much looking forward to the next New York meetup. Take care.
All right, Tanya. She said in her feedback that she was nervous when she recorded this. Why? You don't have to be nervous.
It turned out great. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, lovely diction.
Yeah, absolutely. You're kind of breaking up there, Nick. What did you say? Diction?
Diction.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yes, that's exactly what I said.
Okay.
Slap him, Steph. Slap him.
No. Anyway. All right. Yeah, we agree. Stu's accent is awesome. Yeah. Well, Ivor doesn't agree, but everybody else apparently does. Anyway, so I think that should wrap it up for
solid show
this week's episode. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And we are terribly sorry that Dana wasn't able to.
I mean, really feeling terrible about his brand new laptop MacBook.
And he was, he was up all night, and he's,
And I'm sure everyone can empathize with being
tired
and frustrated, and then something else happens and it just all builds on itself.
Yeah.
So we're hoping he gets a good night's sleep and is refreshed and
has a nice positive attitude tomorrow.
And gets the laptop taken care of.
Yeah. Well, you know
it
what?
Will. It'll work itself out. Everything always does.
This is going to be a happy ending, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Nick, thank you for staying up again so late.
My pleasure.
And hope you have a great trip to New York in the next few days. And let's see, Steph, as always, a pleasure to be with you in person.
Absolutely.
We're going to grab something to eat after
Food.
this. Yes. We're going to go to the Cowfish, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Some sushi.
Oh, that sounds good. And if you want to learn more about the crew and the community and the YouTube channel and other ways to listen to us, I mean, let's see, of course, iTunes and Stitcher Radio and so many different things. I can't think of them all right now.
The app?
The app. Oh, yeah. We have this app for both the Android and the iOS platforms. Go to your respective app store. I believe the Android one is on Google Play. And you can download the free app, and it has no advertisements or anything else. And you can set it up to receive push notifications. So when we're planning on recording a show, and when I release the edited, published podcast, you're one of the first to be notified of that. And it's a great app, and you should check it out by downloading it, going to the App Store. Yeah, what do you got to lose? It takes up a little tiny bit of space on your smartphone. Social media.
Social media. You can find us on social media on Twitter. That's at APG Crew. And find a pinned tweet at the top of that for all of our individual Twitter accounts if you have something to say to us individually. However, if you say something to the whole group, you'll get a reply from one of us. You can also head over to Facebook, facebook.com/airlinepilotguy. There's information there about articles that we or the community find interesting and share there. Meetup information sometimes is posted there, and other various assorted aviation-related stuff.
Excellent. And we have this other thing we like to call our perpetual chat room, information about meetups and other random things. And hang on. Hello, you there? Yeah, it's time.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. On Slack, we share news and ideas. We suggest episode and Plain Tales topics. We plan meetups and events. To get into the Slack team, please send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @hi11e1, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel @hi11e1, and see you in Slack.
All right. Thank you. Okay.
All right. You can.
That's enough. See you.
See you next week.
Next week, whenever that's going to be. Anything else before we shut this thing down?
I don't think so.
Yeah, how about inviting everyone to give us a review on Apple Podcasts?
iTunes.
Yeah, well, it's called Apple Podcast now, I think, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Okay. Cool.
Yeah, because it always helps to push us up the ratings.
Absolutely, yeah. So people are out there looking for, aviation podcasts, and if you don't want to steer them away from our show, you can leave a review, a good review. And as
we like the good reviews.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
You can send the other end of the spectrum reviews to HR.
Yeah, and she'll handle them.
I will take care of them.
Yeah,
yes,
she'll definitely take care of them.
We have a special file for those. Yes.
Yes. The round file?
Yes. Circular.
Okay. Circular file.
Doesn't matter if you don't use iTunes, Glenn, you can still make a visit.
Yeah, that's true. That is a good point. If you listen on Stitcher Radio or TuneIn Radio and all of the other great platforms out there for listening to podcasts, you can still go over to, use the iTunes app on your phone or your computer.
Even on the computer. Yep.
Yeah, and it's free, and just long enough to leave us a good review, and then you can just delete it.
The app, you mean?
Yeah, not
the review.
Not the review. The app. Thank you.
That'd be a waste of a lot of effort.
Yeah.
There.
Why would you do that? Are you crazy? Anyway, I guess that's about it. So we're looking forward to being back again next week and sharing with you more aviation geekdom. And until then, wishing you clear skies, unlimited visibility, and tailwinds. Take care, and God bless.
Cheers, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Dum, dum, dum.
Nice one.
Yeah, that was fun. Again, thanks for staying up so late.
I do feel terrible for Dana at the moment, though.
Yeah, no problem at all. I feel it's annoying. It must be so annoying. I just bought the damn thing. I have to say, I prop mine up on a bunch of boxes, not because I drink a lot of beer, because I do, but so that the camera kind of points at me rather than shining up my nose.
Yep.
And that, of course, keeps it free of spilt beer. But,
but even though I have mine on a little uplifted stand as well right now, I could probably still.
You could still manage to spill beer on it.
The show. Yeah.
Actually, this is the most vulnerable setup for me because usually I don't have this laptop out.
Yeah.
So.
And it's at tabletop level.
it wouldn't take
beer
much.
Spilling level. But at least I think.
Fortunately, these are pretty empty.
Yeah, these are in their cans too, and they have like a smaller.
It's harder to
aperture
spill large quantities of.
But it's still possible.
Oh, it's possible. If there's a way, don't worry. I'll figure out how to do it at some point in my life.
Yeah.
Well, he'll be a rich captain soon. He'll be able to afford two.
There you go. Yeah, he'll have so much darn money he won't know what to do with it all.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Well, you could always ask him to trade his Harley in for a new laptop.
That's going to happen.
Yeah. I was going to show Dana that I'm actually wearing my Harley Davidson.
Oh, nice.
See that? It's a Harley Davidson hat today. I wish I could afford one. You see,
an actual Harley, like 10,000 or more.
They're
a lot more than that.
Some depends on which one you get.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. I used to go in this Harley store in LA. I used to love it because it wasn't far from the hotel. You could buy them in there, the special paint job ones, 20,000 plus. a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I think Dana's must be top of the line as well, though. All the singing and all the dancing and all the light shows and everything. Fabulous motorcycle.
That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, real American.
Yeah, because we all have them Harleys.
Exactly right.
Okay, gang. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let's see what else. As far as remember again, if you're listening live right now and you're in the Columbus, Ohio area, look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And I don't know, perhaps Nick will be able to meet up with some folks in New York, probably kind of play it by ear there. And let's see what else. Next week, not sure, what our schedules are going to be yet. We haven't really talked about it. So
Nope.
We don't know when we're going to be recording next week, but hopefully sometime we'll get one out there.
Mm-hmm. You can count on that much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where the hell's happened?
I don't know.
Oh, there you go. I was just trying to find my. I've just written my next Plain Tales. I haven't recorded it yet. I was just looking for the title of degrees, knots, pounds, and seconds. Oh, interesting.
That does sound.
Sounds like a lot of different units of measurement there.
Could be.
Nick is so good with the T's, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not teasing anyone now because there's not very many people listening.
Yeah. Are there not 23? Yeah.
23?
But they're going to tell all their friends.
That's right.
And then
They got lots of friends.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks again, everybody in the chat room for hanging with us. Here, let's pull up that chat room here. I wish I could get this thing to stay there forever. Well, not forever, but persist during the show.
Put it in your phone.
Yeah, but I'm using my
Put
phone.
it on your head-up display.
Okay.
We'll look into the budget for that one.
We'll get a head-up display soon.
Google Glass. It'll just be in the corner of your aisle.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, a monocle head-up display. There you go.
That's right.
All right, folks. We're going to go ahead and shut down the chat room and the live feed. And yes, see you tomorrow, Jen. And James, see you as well. Jeff, did you hear my segment on podcasting on a plane? I don't think I've heard that yet, Anthony. I'm going to make sure that I listen to it right away.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Oh, and
man, Micah, I've got no friends. That's why I have HPG. Thanks.
Well, we're all your friends.
Oh, wait a minute. We got to play that, don't we?
Oh, and Auntie also asks what cars Steph drives. Now, Steph, I know, drives a Jeep, and she's not very rich, so she can't afford the doors.
Yeah.
Jeff drives an old van that the electrics keep cutting out.
Yes.
And I've got like a 10-year-old Audi TT Roadster.
Which is a lot of fun to ride in. We were talking about Fred's driving skills earlier. I don't think we can let Nick off the hook that easily.
No.
Yeah. Well,
driving. His skills or his driving style is perhaps similar. So
yeah, well, they you like to say somebody has mad skills.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Nick's are definitely mad skills.
What are mad skills? Seriously, I don't know.
Crazy. Where's
okay.
the thing that?
No, but I loved riding around in that little TT. It was fun.
Yeah, you know what, Nick? You have a nice TT.
Yes. Sorry, Jeff.
Yes.
Slap him again, Steph.
Sorry. Where's the no more? Here it is. I found it. Okay, hang on. I gotta get the echo switch on.
It says file not found. Is that?
Oh, what happened to it? Oh, I know what happened to it. I moved it.
You deleted it if it's not found.
I moved it. And I guess my Soundbite app doesn't like the fact when you associate a file and you move it, it doesn't like that.
Can't find it anymore.
One on the whole list of like 4,000 sound bites.
That's all right. I can find
files.
it. Just hang on. Here it is. Right.
Like it's funny because you only use like 6. How do you?
I know. It's one of my toys. Here we go. I need the. Here it
Can't
is.
you have a favorites page up there so you can find them all?
Wow. Thank you, Miami Hick.
I used to be such a good pilot till I started APG. I opened doors for little old ladies. I helped them to their seats.
Good.
Airline pilot guy, I fly a Medal. Airline pilot guy, he can land in heavy fall. I got no friends cause I'm always flying. I just don't have the time.
Don't have the time.
But I can land this old plane. I can land it just fine.
Just fine.
Airline pilot guy, I fly a Medal. Airline pilot guy, he can land in heavy fall. Airline pilot guy, I fly a Medal. Airline pilot guy, he can land in heavy fall.
You know what? It's not true. I do have friends. It's all of you. Thank you.
Friends.
Yes. All right. Why is that not disappearing? There we go. All right, everybody. We're going to go get something to eat at the Cowfish or a Cowfish. Probably not. You don't put the in front of it. Just at Cowfish.
The Cowfish.
The Cowfish?
I don't know.
Okay. The restaurant.
I don't think the
entitled
article is incorrect.
Cowfish. Like the artist formerly known as Prince.
Is it?
Nothing like that at all.
No, not at all.
Okay. Anyway, let's shut off the thing there. Uh-oh. Nick is turning green. That's not good.
Going green. All
Go, oh, yeah. Okay. Shall we? No.
If you want.
Well,
we'll go out with it.
All right.
There you go. Gotcha.
Nick's going green.
He's going green.
We're gonna take care of the earth.
Nick's going green.
Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody. Have a great night.
Nick's going green. Bye.
We're going green.